preach Christ, Yahweh HaMashiach. Volume of the book written of.
That's right.
That's how we go. Anybody don't understand that? Raise your hand. We'll clear that up before we get started, because we need to ensure that everybody's on the same page, what God we serve and what God we speaking of.
Right.
Yeah, we have to establish these rules before we get started, so that we know everybody's on the same playing field. So y'all, that's something we'll do to make sure, just like anything else, any sport you watch, any event you watch, they always tell you exactly what is established. And we establish every word of the Most High by 2 witnesses. Minimum.
Get her done.
All right. Today I want to hit on the scepter. Genesis 49:10. We're talking about that the scepter should not depart from Judah. I got this class already written out. I'm going to scroll it down. You guys can take your notes. And the only thing you have to add is any second witnesses that come up from the brothers. It's going to be story time. I'm teaching this from the perspective of letting the scriptures reveal itself. Okay, line upon line, precept upon precept. We're going to see some things will not be expounded on because you're going to get the answers. They're going to come to you. I like to let the scriptures show you the answers.
Right, be patient.
You know what I'm saying? And that is the second part. This brother just yelled it out. The second part of this class is a twofold class. Okay, we're going to show them how the rulership fell on us. We're going to show what the other brothers did, where they tripped at. And then also the second part of the lesson is patience. When the Most High sent an angel out to his people and gave them that prophecy, and they say, the Lord sent me to tell you this. When he tells you something, then you wait on him to do it. And you don't take it upon yourself to make it happen. You understand what I'm saying? That when he say, this is what I tell my people, then you sit and wait for that prophecy to be fulfilled. He said it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And we're going to see where people took it upon themselves to do what the Lord wanted them to do. Out of their own hearts that they did these things. And not being just waiting on him when he said, I'm going to do this, and let him do it.
Boy.
That's right. So we're going to start out in Genesis 49, 1 through 10. And then we're going to go back at 29 all to give you the history. So y'all got one of y'all want to start that out?
The book of Genesis, chapter 49. We'll start at verse 1. Genesis 49. Genesis 49, 1 through 10. How we looking? Everybody there getting there? All right, about to get started. Genesis 49 and 1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days.
Now see, a lot of times in the Old Testament, in the New Testament, our forefathers knew when they was finna yield up the ghost. Okay? And they would call all their sons to them, and they would give them a blessing. They would tell them about the Lord, what they knew about the Lord, how they raised them about the Lord, and all the things that the Most High has done in their lives. And then he tells his sons, because we were commanded to teach our children and our children's children. So there's plenty of examples that the Most High said, it's time for you to come on home and you need to tell your people this, and then you come on with me.
Set that house in order.
But you have to have these are the blessings that we get, that your forefathers say. I bless this son this way, I bless this son, I give this inheritance, I give this inheritance. So that's where we at right here. Read on.
Verse 2. Gather yourselves together and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel, your father, Reuben,
Thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power, unstable as water.
See that? See all the things that he just named to him, all his positive traits. What he said, you are unstable as water. What y'all call that today? Wishy-washy.
Oh.
Sometimes. Can't right, double-minded. You can't be trusted to maintain. You have to be watched. You know what I'm saying? If I entrust this into his hands, is he going to continue this on right? See that? Read on.
Hey, y'all write down 2nd Ezra for me real quick. I'm bad, Hebrew. 2nd Ezra 14, 13 through 15. Like when going into what the brother was saying, men knew they were going to die back then. So the Lord will tell you to set your house in order. Get your stuff together. That's right. All right, 2nd Ezra 14, real quick, verse 13. Now therefore, set thine house in order, and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Let go from thee mortal thoughts. Cast away the burdens of man. Put off now the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. 2nd Ezra chapter 14, verse 13 through 16. Set your house in order.
That's right.
All right, continue.
Verse 4. Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed.
Oh.
Then defilest thou it. He went up to my couch.
Anybody here do not know what this means about going up to thy father's bed?
Sister don't understand.
It means that he had
relations with his father's woman.
Word I'm looking for.
His brother Jacob had 4 wives. His younger brother Dan and them, his oldest son had sex with one of his father's wives.
So that was his father's couch. He uncovered his father's nakedness. Okay, that was something that you're not supposed to do. You see right here it said, because you did this. We're going to see all that. Keep reading, brother.
Verse 5. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitation. O my soul, come not thou into their secrets, unto their assembly. Mine honor, be not thou united. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down a wall.
So he's telling his sons, don't do what they did. So we seen Reuben trip, and then he goes right to Simeon and Levi, the next two in line. He's telling us, do not do what they did, for in their anger, we're going to see this, in their anger they slew a man. Okay, so we see right here the 2 reasons why these 3 brothers tripped. Okay.
Also, back up about Ruben, 1 Chronicles 5 and 1. Also go into detail of what it means to go up into your father's couch. It'll explain it a little bit better. So mark that.
Also, Leviticus, the 18th chapter.
Yes, sir.
Y'all read it. That's all the physical fornication. Leviticus 18 and Leviticus, the 20th chapter. And you see on there that if a man uncovers his father's nakedness, that's fornication. That's an abomination. So what Reuben did was an abomination in the eyes of God.
All right. And there's the #1 curse word out here that children of Israel use to define almost everything. A mother, you know what? That's where it came from, because that's how curse words are defined. A curse was pronounced in Deuteronomy 27:20. Curse be the man that lies with his father's wife.
Now, since he brought that up, it's just 2 verses. I'm going to go ahead and read them now and break that off. Is it First Chronicles chapter 5, 1 and 2 says, Now the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, for he was the firstborn, but for as much as he defiled his father's bed, his birthright was given unto the sons of Joseph, the sons of Israel, and the genealogy is not to be reckoned after the birthright. For Judah prevailed above his brethren, And of him came the chief ruler, but the birthright was Joseph's. So y'all see there's a difference between a kingly rulership
Scepter and the
and the birthright. The inheritance of the father went to Joseph. Okay, like we would think of inheritances today, that what your parents passed, what they leave you, those material goods and all those types of things, that was the inheritance that Reuben, Simeon and Levi tripped and got knocked up out of it. But the scepter fell on Judah.
The rulership.
Right. Well, of all the brothers, the rulership, the number one that you look up to, that's the number one. All right, let's go back and continue on.
Genesis 49, verse 7. Cursed be their anger, for it was first, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob, and scatter them in Israel.
You see that? The thing that they took upon themselves to do did not go unpunished. That is not what the Most High said. We're going to see that. Let's keep going.
Verse 8. Yahweh died, Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise.
See that?
Thy hand, your hand, shall be in the neck of your enemies, thy enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee.
That Deuteronomy 7 and 6, when the Most High said, I choose thee to be a special people above all people that are upon the face of the earth. You see how throughout the scriptures he says, Jeremiah 31, Hebrews 8 and 8, when he says that I will make a new covenant with the house of Judah. He specifically names Judah and Israel, the other 11 tribes. Okay? Read on.
Verse 9. Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey, my son. Thou art gone up. He stooped down. He couched as a lion and as an old lion. Who shall rouse him up?
See that? As an old lion, who shall rouse him up? He done did everything. He's the king now.
You done forgot he a lion.
Right, he's the king now. He's got others now under him. See, now he's the rulership fell to him. And you got, that means you got other people that you rule. Who gonna rouse him up now? Read on.
The scepter shall not depart from Judah.
Scepter.
The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come.
To who comes?
Shiloh.
So this means that this is set. From then, back then, when the Most High set this up, it's going to be this way until the Messiah comes back.
Yeah, Shiloh is the Messiah. And unto him shall be the gathering of the people be. That's verse 10.
All right, now let's go to we're going back to look at the origins of the origins of them. So in Genesis 29, we're going to read this whole chapter, then we're going to go into the book of Joshua. We got it up here, but you all know that in Joshua 10 and 13 and 2 Samuel 1 and 18, it talks about reading from the book of Joshua. In the book of Joshua, these other books that we have, they go into day-to-day details to give you the whole story. So what we read right here in the script, we're going to see in the book of Joshua the actual details, minute details of this story and why these things happen and how they happen.
Let me I will read the scepter to it while we get it so everybody understands what we pass to Judah. Scepter. A rod held in the hands of kings as a token of authority. The Hebrew word shevet is a word for rod or club. It said the staff scepter might be used for protection as well.
So like, you know, we see in movies, you know, anytime you see a king, he's always got that staff. And then when he talked to people, he pointed at them and directed them. That's what a scepter is. Okay, and that scepter, that rulership, it's just a signal that signifies who the king is. He talked to you with that scepter, pointed it at you, that rulership, that royalty. That's what that royalty is. All right.
We going?
Genesis 29.
The book of Genesis, chapter 29. Starting verse 1, right?
Yes, sir.
The book of Genesis, chapter 29, verse 1. Then Jacob went on his journey, and came into the land of the people of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field. And lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by. For out of that well they watered the flocks. And a great stone was upon the well's mouth. And thither were all the flocks gathered. And they rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the sheep, and put the stone again upon the well's mouth in its place. And Jacob said unto them, My brethren, whence be ye? And they said, Of Haran are we.
So Jacob was in a land after he left, fleeing his brother Esau. He in a different land. He by himself. Okay? And he see these cats watering these sheep, and he asked them, where y'all from? Okay? Read on.
And he said unto them, Know ye Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said, We know him. And he said unto them, Is he well? And they said, He is well. And behold, Rachel his daughter cometh with the sheep. And he said, Lo, it is yet high day, neither is it time that the cattle should be gathered together. Water ye the sheep, and go and feed them. And they said, We cannot until all the flocks be gathered together, until they roll the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep. And while he yet spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. And it came to pass when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother. Read that again. And it came to pass when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother.
Okay, so you see that because Rachel was watering the sheep, that means that Jacob did not have any sons. Okay? He didn't have no sons because that's a man's job to water sheep. He didn't have any sons, so his daughters did. Alright? So she happened to come to the well right at the right time when Jacob was there. Okay? Read on.
Verse 11. And Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother and that he was Rebekah's son. She ran and told her father.
Okay, now, you see in that he's calling him brother and father and mother, you know, uncle, stuff like that. It's because you are the family. And so, like, how do I say this? Your relatives is still your family. So he's saying that even though that's my uncle, he's calling him his brother. That's family. Okay, that's what they mean. You see that throughout the scriptures. People who are related to each other, and we know that they're uncles and nephews and nieces, but they call them also my sister, my daughter, my brother. Okay? You know.
Verse 13. And it came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him, and embraced him, and kissed him, and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, Surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month. And Laban said unto Jacob, Because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be?
So he's saying, you with me all this time, and you helping me out around the house with all the things that I need to do. You shouldn't be doing this for free. I'm going to pay you for your services because of who you are. You know, if you there, you ain't got no job. You can't make your own way. You can't take care. You can't provide for yourself. So his brother, his uncle, put him on. All right. With some hurt.
Got some work for you to do, Bob. Verse 16. And Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter.
What it's saying is that, you know, just one daughter was more beautiful than the other. Rachel was the one that he was attracted to.
Of course.
See what I'm saying? He met her at the well. She was beautiful.
Turned
out that it's his own flesh and blood. And it don't mean that Leah was ugly.
She just said she fine.
She just wasn't as fine as her sister was.
To him.
You know, right, to him.
Right, and when you look also in the book of Jasher, it'll tell you that both of them had really nice forms, but Rachel's eyes were so beautiful. That's what kind of set them apart. And you kind of look at it, when I say comparison, it's kind of like Beyonce and her sister. You know, both of them have nice forms, but it's the eyes of Beyonce that seem to have every man's eyes, so to speak. But those terms you hear that Leah was ugly, that ain't nowhere written in the scriptures. Right. It just says she was just tender eyes. Her eyes was not as bright, you know, and sparkling like Rachel's was.
She wasn't a little snatchy, you know.
None.
All right.
Butter heat. It's gonna look good on the butter heat.
Oh, no. You got him started.
Verse 18. Verse 18. And Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. And Laban said, it is better that I give her to thee than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel. And they seemed unto him but a few days, for the love he had to her. See that? And Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her.
7 years. He waited for her. He served, so he worked for Jacob, for Laban for all this time, for those 7 years. That's how much he loved her. He loved her for 7 years. It was a 7-year courting process. Okay, but he fulfilled when his 7 years was up. It's time for my wife. Okay,
You're gonna pay what you owe.
that's right.
You know, it's crazy though, Simeon, to bring that a little bit deeper spiritually, kind of could be like, well, you know, because he had promised, it was kind of controlled in that way, which is still considered like a wife. You see what I'm saying? Though he didn't go into it yet.
Right.
Yeah, it was promised. So
He just consummated it.
he just consummated it. That's what he wanted to do.
Was the sisters' handmaids, Zilla, were they related to him?
I had not seen any relations, and all I've ever studied about, it just said he gave him her handmaid. He gave him her handmaid, or he sent handmaids to them.
Right.
You know, they're so like their status. You know, we can't think about things.
Just don't have
inspiration to say.
Let me say it like this: can handmaids be related to you?
Well, they become related, yeah, because you take them and you see that these handmaids became wives.
Well, yeah, some of the Israelites.
Yeah, like slaves.
A lot of them were Israelites. I mean, Hebrews could take other Hebrews as indentured servants. They wasn't slaves like we know slaves.
Like bondage.
They were indentured servitude. If you owe, sometimes your father may have owed a debt. You get paid off about that. You go into some Leviticus. It tells you about how to treat a slave and what you have over them. Like you could release them if you had a married. Some Israelites had married couple servants.
Right.
You know,
they still together.
He owed, as long as he owed both of them, he wouldn't let one of them apart.
Well, I want to show you here that even though in Genesis 15, when Ishmael's mother, you know, they were not, they were Egyptians. Okay, but see, he still got married into the family. Where we at?
All right, this Zilpah right here, Zilpah, and then that's in chapter 30. People get to the handmaids and all that, the very next chapter. But Zilpah, it says, a handmaid of Leah, given to her by her father Laban, and later to Jacob, the mother of Gad and Asher. I mean, that's about as far as they go with it. And then Bilhah, you know, you look her up too, same type thing. Bilhah, B-I-L.
Sometimes there'll be slave girls from war taken in captivity, you know, and they're serving out time and they're part of, you know, and a lot of times most of the handmaids were well-to-do families that had a lot of cattle and everything. So their daughters, you know, you'll see that a lot today in well-to-do families, so to speak.
Here goes right here, Bilhah, maid servant of Rachel, Jacob's beloved wife, and later given to Jacob by Rachel, that she might bear children who would be credited to Rachel. She became the ancestress of the two tribes, Dan and Naphtali. In the polygamous system of early Israel, she would be ranked higher than a mere concubine, but not as high as her freeborn mistress. A town in the tribe of Simeon spelled Bala, that's second definition.
Of her freeborn what?
Of her freeborn mistress.
So see, the mistress was all, you got the mister, and then you got the mistress. So a lot of times it's reversed in our language today.
Right.
The mistresses sound like the outside woman. But
Right.
the mistress,
Right. Actually, the mistress is the real woman.
Yeah, Bilhah was the one Reuben crept in that couldn't contain himself. If you look in the 12, the Testament of the 12 patriarchs, Reuben go into detail about what happened that night. He go into explicit detail.
Read the definition too. Right here is concubine, which Hagar was a concubine to Abraham. A concubine in the Bible, not a paramour, but a woman lawfully united in marriage to a man in a relation inferior to that of the regular wife. No, read that again. And it says, but a woman lawfully united in marriage to a man in a relation inferior to that of the regular wife. No moral stigma was attached to being a concubine. It was a natural part. It was a natural part of a polygamous social system. Concubinage is assumed and provided for in the law of Moses, which tried to prevent his excess and abuses. Exodus 21, Deuteronomy 21. Concubines were commonly taken from among Hebrew or foreign slave girls, or Gentile captives taken in war. Although free Hebrew women might also become concubines, they enjoyed no other right but lawful cohabitation. They had no authority in the family or in the household affairs. Their husbands could send them away with a small present, and their children could, by means of small presents, be excluded from the heritage. The children were regarded as legitimate, although the children of the first wife were preferred in the distribution of the inheritance. In patriarchal times, at least, the immediate cause of concubinage was the burness of the lawful wife, who herself suggested that her husband have children by a maidservant. Genesis 16, Genesis 30. That's it for me.
So y'all see today what they call side babies, right? But this is legal side babies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How do you have a child, your own child, of your own flesh and blood, and not have anything to do with it?
Right. Legal wife.
Right. But that order shows that, and she knew her place. She knew her place. She can't buck up. That's what happened. That's what happened. And when Sarah could not produce Abraham a child, and Bilhah did, then she got the big head and got the blowing on the mistress, and she couldn't. And she's like, "You got to go." She got out of her place. She got out of order, and she had to go.
Right.
Let's read on.
Genesis 29, verse 22. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to him, and he went in unto her.
Now you see that right there now. We're going to go into detail. In these next few verses, we're going to go in detail about what actually happened here, what we're reading in the book of Joshua. But you see, this was all by design. All right? Read on.
And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah, his maid, for an handmaid. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this thou hast done unto me? Did not I serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me?
See, so He woke up. Remember, y'all, it was a wedding party. We're going to see this wedding party. But he, you know the liquid libation was going on.
But still though.
Alright, now so you have to stop and think about that. That see, as Laban, what he did, this treachery that he did, he slipped her in. He knew what he was doing all along.
Right. He did.
Okay? And he let this man serve 7 years for Rachel. Okay?
Hey, so her face must have been covered or something. How did he not know that?
Yeah, that wedding veil.
And then you understand they were twins. So, built just alike. And like I say, when you get in, I don't know if you get into the history of Jasher when they extinguished the lights and the things.
Yeah, we're going there. We're
he'll explain.
Yeah, we're gonna see how these things happen. Okay, so let's keep reading. You gotta remember right now, we're giving you the origins of the 4 brothers.
That's right.
Alright, we're gonna get to this wedding party and all that, but we're giving you the origins of the 4 brothers.
Right. I ain't gonna, you know, because they got babies in her.
Verse 25. No, verse 26. And Laban said, it must not be so done in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years.
Right here, we see that he told Jacob, hey, give her her week, meaning her newlywed week. Like in this country, they say you newlyweds for a year, something like that, whatever. But yeah, the honeymoon lasts a year or whatever. But we see here, he said, give her honeymoon week, and I will give you Rachel. And you can have her now. But you're going to serve me 7 more years. That's not what he signed up for. But because he loved this girl, he said, okay, I'll do this. But he got his reward. At the end of his first 7, he got what he worked for. But it was 7 more before he could just say, I can leave. I got to serve this 14-year bid. Okay? Let's read on.
Verse 28. And Jacob did so and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel, his daughter, to wife also. And Laban gave to Rachel, his daughter, Bilhah, his handmaid, to be her maid.
So now they both got the 2 sisters, got 2 women that take care of them.
Jacob got 4 wives.
Okay?
Verse 30. And he went in also unto Rachel. And he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was burned. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben, for she said, surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, because the Lord hath heard that I was hated, he hath therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, now this time will my husband be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore was his name called Levi. And she conceived again and bare a son. And she said, now will I praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Yahweh, Judah, and left barren.
There you go.
All right, you see it, and the term hated was, in this case, was to love less. Right. It's in the same way the Most High say, if you don't if you don't hate your mother, your brother, your sister, and you love them more than me, you're not worthy of me. He don't mean a hate to mama, I can't stand you because I have to love Christ. It means you have to love them less. You know, and that's the form of hate, just opposite of love. It means to love less.
Right, it's not baby mama hate.
No.
He just loved Rachel more than her.
Right.
That's it for point 9.
Okay, now go to, we're going to look at what Reuben did. Y'all read Genesis 35 and 22. I'm trying to find this here answer to that. I'm scrolling down through it. So y'all read that, and I'm going to find this other one.
Where we going next?
Genesis 35, verse 22.
We read all the way out of it.
Yes, sir. All right.
I got you. Genesis 35 and 22, we are?
Hello.
All right, Genesis 35, 22. All right. Genesis 35, 22. And it came to pass, when Israel dwelt in the land, that Reuben went and laid with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Israel heard. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. And the sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon and Levi and Judah, and Issachar and Zebulun. And Rachel's sons, the sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Bilhah was Rachel's handmaid were Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad and Asher. And these are the sons of Jacob, which were born to him in Padanaram. And Jacob came unto Isaac, his father, unto Mamre, unto the city of Arbel, which is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac sojourned. And the days of Isaac were 180 years. So was it 180 years. And Isaac gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto the people, being old and full of days, and his sons Esau and Jacob buried him.
Okay. Now we're going to go to the book of Joshua. Chapter 36, we're going to read 8 through 16 to see why Ruben.
Okay.
Here, you don't mind.
Also, y'all just wondered what I said about Rachel and Leah. This is in the book of Jubilees, 28th chapter. So write that down, 28th chapter, verse 5. And it said, take thy daughter, I will go, for thou hast, and this is what Laban was saying the same thing. He said, and he went unto her, and behold, she was Leah. And Jacob was angry with Laban, and said unto him, why hast thou dealt thus with me? Did I not serve thee for Rachel, and not for Leah? Why hast thou wronged me? Take thy daughter, and I will go, for thou hast done evil to me. For Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah. For Leah's eyes were weak, but her form was very handsome. Rachel had beautiful eyes, and a beautiful and very handsome form.
And that's as it is written. All right. Book of Joshua, chapter 36. Hey, y'all know the angels themselves came down in Genesis 26. Genesis 6. 36, right there.
Starting verse 1?
No, where you're
8. Oh, right.
Yeah, right there. Read down.
Verse 8.
8 through 12.
Book of Joshua, chapter 36.
8 through 16.
Verse 8. And Jacob was 100 years old when the Lord appeared unto him, and blessed him, and called his name Israel. And Rachel, the wife of Jacob, conceived in those days. And at that time Jacob and all belonging to him journeyed from Bethel to go to his father's house to Hebron. And whilst they were going on the road, and there was yet but a little way to come to Ephrath, Rachel bare a son, and she had hard labor, and she died. And Jacob buried her in the way to Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. And he set a pillow upon her grave, which is there unto this day. And the days of Rachel were 45 years, and she died.
45 years old. So we see how old Methuselah was. All these people who lived hundreds and hundreds, Noah 600 years old. Yeah. You see, when you get to compare the hundreds of years that the brothers lived, things like that, and then you see right here that she only lived to be 45 years old.
Right.
Those are our lifetimes that we see, 45.
Yeah.
Not 145, not 245, 345. She died at 45.
Having Benjamin, right?
Yep.
Right, baby boy.
Had a baby brother, Benjamin. Okay, read on.
And y'all see a lot of times when the scripture says a woman in travail, that men is panicking and trembling when wartime is coming or something bad is happening, like a woman in travail, because giving birth to a child, you're as close to death as a woman can come. So actually you giving life and may give your own at the same time.
Pass it on.
Verse 12. And Jacob called the name of his son that was born to him, which Rachel bare unto him, Benjamin. For he was born to him in the land on the right hand. And it was after the death of Rachel that Jacob pitched his tent in the tent of her handmaid Bilhah. And Reuben was jealous for his mother Leah on account of this. And he was filled with anger. And he rose up in his anger. And he went and entered the tent of Bilhah. And he thence removed his father's baby.
Now, check this out. What happened here was, in Reuben's eyes, this is the way he sees things. Rachel has passed my father's favor. He expected his mother to move into her position as being the favor, as being the number. He understood how things had worked. But now that Rachel is gone, the love of his life, if you think about this, he was with Laban. He served 7 years for her, another 7 years to get away, but then he served an extra 6 years to gain his wealth off of his sheep. Okay? So he spent 20 years in Laban's house for her. And she passes at 45. How much time did they really have together?
Right.
And how we see how much he loved her. And her life is 45 years and she gone. Okay, so this is what Reuben's thinking. My mama's gonna move into number one.
Right.
He gonna love her now, like he loved Rachel. He gonna love my mama like that.
Yeah.
And because he didn't, he took that upon himself to say, I'm gonna run up here and Pop's concubine, because he was that mad at him. He gonna strike back at his own father like that?
Right.
At his own flesh and blood like that. This is what he did to him. Okay? Because he was mad. Alright, let's keep reading.
Not only that, what he didn't understand in his anger is that Leah was already number one. So she was the first white wig. You know, but he saw how his dad had kind of loved the second wife a little bit more than his mama, but she was already in the number one position.
And see, the other thing I want to add to this is that we know that Jacob loved Rachel, but we come out of Leah.
Absolutely.
You see that? That's where we come from. So Rachel didn't have our connection to her. No, it's Leah. It's our mama. That's our mama.
Right.
Okay?
And Judah came out of Leah, right?
That's right.
Right.
Okay. Read on.
Verse 15. At that time, the portion of birthright, together with the kingly and priestly offices, was removed from the sons of Reuben, for he had profaned his father's bed. And the birthright was given unto Joseph, the kingly office to Judah, and the priesthood unto Levi, because Reuben had defiled his father's bed.
There your answer right there.
Right.
All right. We're going to move on and look at Simeon and Levi.
So was all those officers going to Reuben? All those officers going to Reuben?
So check it.
They were Reubens at first. But then because of what Reuben did, he split the offices up.
Brother Malachi here just going to read, he's going to show us in Jubilees where Jacob did love Leah. Okay? And think about it. It's not like you pulled a fast one on me and I'm stuck with her.
Right.
Because see, when Laban told Jacob, it's the tradition of our land for the firstborn daughter to be married first. Nigga, you didn't tell me that.
You should have said that.
You know what I'm saying? You didn't tell me. I done spent 7 years of my life waiting to get this woman, and then you gonna pull a 3-card Molly on me on my honeymoon? See, and then the thing about it is, I was, you know, when I was reading these the first time, you know, years ago, I was thinking about the wedding party, you know, wine was flowing.
Right.
Yeah. We done kicked it at night, woke up the next morning and be like, what did I do? How did I get home?
Right. How did she get in my bed?
Who are you? You wake up the next morning, who are you? How did you get here?
Woman is down.
You don't remember? No, I don't remember. But you're exactly right, brother. That's exactly what they was. Read on, man.
This right here, y'all.
Just say, and also, y'all, when you read that story in Jasper about the wed night, she was covered, and like say they were twins. It had to be covered. The only difference was the eyes, and then they were extinguished from the lights. They would blow the candles out, and they were saying, "Hey la, hey la, hey la," and he said, "I wasn't understanding what they were saying, but they was praising." Oh,
yeah, we going there. I'm saying you right.
We're gonna get it, brother Sam.
I'm just saying, it must not have been all that puppy dog, like face to face back.
No, it wasn't.
It had to be something different.
It was right. It was a puzzle of how they did it. Because y'all understand, marriage, like music, is universal. So it don't matter where you go all over the world. Music and marriage is universal. They recognize. They don't care what the custom was and how it goes. When it's stamped and you become one flesh. That's guaranteed all over in every kingdom on planet Earth. You can go from this country to this country and it's recognized that you were married. And so when we get there, y'all will explain itself. I don't want to jump the gun.
Alright, this right here is Jubilees chapter 36, verse 20 through 24. Jubilees 36, verse 20. 36, I'm sorry, y'all. Please excuse me. Chapter 36, verses 20 through 24. This is about Leah. We had read where Leah was hated or whatnot, and the brother broke off and high. This meant he loved Rachel more than him. It didn't mean he didn't love her because he had his first 4 children with her.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He didn't hate her that much. You see what I'm saying? He had 4 sons and a daughter. Okay, so he had 6. She bore him 6 children.
A lot of us got that experience.
Then some crackpot get a hold of the Bible and say, "See, you can hate your wife, look."
Yes.
Then saying Leah was hated.
Right.
Instead of reading the whole thing and saying, "No, that hate must mean he loved her less."
My 6 children.
Now trip off this right here. This is Jubilees 36 in response to what Brother Daniel said, verse 20. It says, "And Jacob dwelt in the mountains of Hebron, in the tower of the land of the sojourners of his father Abraham. And he worshiped the Lord with all his heart, and according to the visible commands, according as he had divided the days of his generation. And Leah, his wife, died in the 4th year of the 2nd week of the 45th Jubilee." That's about 2,167 years and a half. That's what it's saying here. "And he buried her in the double cave near Rebekah, his mother, to the left of the grave of Sarah, his father's mother. And all her sons and his sons came to mourn over Leah, his wife, with him and to comfort him regarding her. For he was lamenting her, for he loved her exceedingly." For he loved her exceedingly after Rachel, her sister, died. This is why. For she was perfect and upright. And she was perfect and upright in all her ways, and honored Jacob. And all the days that she lived with him, he did not hear from her mouth a harsh word.
Well, yeah, like y'all wrote that or something. Well, yeah, like y'all had some harsh words out here before from these women.
Let me finish. Verse 23, it says, for she was perfect and upright in all her ways, and honored Jacob. And all the days that she lived with him, he did not hear from her mouth a harsh word. For she was gentle and peaceable, and upright and honorable. Ladies, nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. You should be aiming to be great in the eyes of God. There's nothing wrong.
Them your role models.
Exactly. Verse 24. And he remembered all her deeds which she had done during her life. And he lamented her exceedingly. For he loved her with all his heart and with all his soul. Jubilees 36, 20 through 24.
Yeah, pretty solid. This from the 12 testaments of the 12 patriarchs. And Reuben.
No, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. It's Reuben, chapter 1, verse 1. I'm reading 1 through 10.
Oh, real quick. When we was talking earlier, when we started out, when Jacob gathered all his sons, and the testament that he gave to his sons, now this is Reuben giving it to his sons. Okay, and we got Simeon. All 12 of them did it. So Simeon did it, Levi did it, Judah did it, all the brothers did it. And it's just like if we have that opportunity, if we know we about to yield up the ghost soon, or what they call today hospice.
Right.
That's when you gather your people together. You gather your people together and you give them what you got from the Most High, that they can continue. They should know it anyway. But you bless your people. You talk to your people. I'm finna get up out of here, y'all. And it was nice knowing you. And continue in the ways of the Most High. Continue. He raised you up to do that, so continue on with it. Read on, bro.
All right, this is Reuben chapter 1, verse 1. It said, the copy of the testament of Reuben, even the commands which he gave his sons before he died in the 125th year of his life. 2 years after the death of Joseph, his brother, when Reuben fell ill, his sons and his sons' sons were gathered together to visit him. And he said to them, my children, behold, I am dying, and go the way of my fathers. And seeing there Judah and Gad and Asher, his brethren, he said to them, raise me up that I may tell to my brethren and to my children what things I have hidden in my heart. For behold, now at length I am passing away. Verse 5. And he arose and kissed them and said unto them, hear my brethren, and do ye. My children, give ear to Reuben your father in the commands which I give them unto you. And behold, I call to witness against you this day the God of heaven, that ye walk not in the sins of youth and fornication, wherein I was poured out, and defiled the bed of my father Jacob. And I tell you that he smote me with a sore plague in my loins for 7 months. And had not my father Jacob prayed for me to the Lord would have destroyed me.
See that? What? He was severely punished in his loins. And what he used to commit that sin with, he was punished in that. 7 months.
Right.
And then look, the fornication that he talked about is the unlawful sexual act, laying with your father's wife. That's why in Leviticus 18, Leviticus 20. That the Lord was going to kill him for that.
Right. See, he knew that up front. So that's amazing. We just read earlier out on the streets. I can't call it real quick, but the Lord said, is there anybody that can hide themselves from me? Can they do something that I can't see, that I don't know about? Can you go anywhere in this world and down deep in a cave and being hidden from the Lord? No. You see, the thing about it was, Judah knew this Reuben knew this up front. So you know the consequences. What's up, bro?
You pick the love he had for his son, though, even after he laid with her and prayed to the Most High.
There you go.
Saved him, though.
That's right.
That's love.
That's right.
That's fatherly love, like our God, I love for us.
Right, because Jacob never went into her again after that.
And then look, she thought it was Jacob in the bed.
Again. Because he was like,
that was my question. I was about to ask her, how did
She thought her husband was in there.
some liquid libations.
Whatever the wine was of that day got the best of it.
And what I wanted to say is that I didn't go into detail with the testament of these brothers because of the other content that we have for time's sake. But you in the lost books, you'll see the whole testament of the patriarchs of the 12 tribes. You can read that on your own. I just didn't go into what they had to say because of time's sake for us to see this. Right. But he knew what he did up front was wrong. Like I said, if you know you go in the bank to try to rob it and you get caught, what your consequences gonna be. So he knew up front well what he did, but see, he had that such hatred, like he said how much the father loved the son to go and pray for him, even how wrong he did him, was look at the hate that he had for him and to commit that act, the son to the father. And he still had mercy on him.
Right. And trip off that ancient world, man. Like, she didn't even know, she wasn't down with it. She realized when it was too late, it was Reuben. And Jacob understood she wasn't down with it, so it wasn't even consensual. But he never touched her again for that.
He gave her a Bill Cosby. That's what happened.
He never touched her again for that. He prayed for his son, you know what I'm saying? But that's deep right there, man. Yeah. Show you how that ancient world operates, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't understand it in your mindset today, like, oh, well, that wasn't fair. You ain't gonna understand the Bible like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's deep right there. For her not even being down with it at all, she thought it was him. But then the fact that his son then went into his woman, he like, I can't touch you ever again.
Right.
Wow.
And y'all understand the same thing happened with King David. When his son Absalom went into his 10 concubines, but that was for what David had did to Uriah the Hittite. The Lord, Nathan told him, the Lord said, I'm going to put yours on Front Street, and your son going to lie with yours, another man going to lie with yours as well. And David never slept with those 10 concubines again, but he put them away, but he still took care of them and say he supplied their needs for the rest of their life, but they lived as widows. So when you see a lot of times in 1 Corinthians 7, when it say a woman, as long as her husband be dead, she can marry another. A lot of times these things are spiritual. You know, in a sense that when there's no support anymore, your husband was considered dead at the time. Just like in this case, he couldn't go back into that wife anymore because his son has transgressed. And he couldn't come back into it because of the defiled land. Right. So a lot of times things are very spiritual when you read about a man or woman that's seen as dead. The same as a eunuch. A spiritual eunuch, a man that makes himself a eunuch. He has chosen not to deal with women at all, and he's saying the kingdom is my woman.
Right. Because if you got married and you and your wife got a divorce, and she went and got her another husband, and they got a divorce, you cannot get back with her. Once she's been with another man, you cannot come back and y'all can reconcile and start all over again. No, not according to the Most High.
All right, read it. That's right. We got that precept that what my brother just talked about. You want to read the whole chapter, but Deuteronomy 24:4, so that's even written in the law. It says, her former husband, I'm just reading verse 4 for me. Her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife, after that she is defiled. For that is an abomination before the Lord, that thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance. So going back into you, they don't go back to my baby mama and go back and hit it. No. The other man hit it, leave that alone, man. No. As many women there is in Israel, you ain't got to worry about going back. You don't want that problem here, they can't. They don't cut your child support.
Watch out for the butts. Watch out for the butts.
But.
All right, finish that up, then we gonna move on, y'all.
All right, again, this is Testaments of Reuben. I'm picking back up in verse 7. It says, and I tell you that he smote me with the sore plague in my loins for 7 months. And had not my father Jacob prayed for me to the Lord would have destroyed me. For I was 30 years old when I wrought the evil thing before the Lord. For 7 months I was sick unto death. And after this I repented with set purpose of my soul for 7 years before the Lord.
7 years.
And wine and strong drink I drank not, and flesh entered not into my mouth. And I ate no pleasant food, but I mourned over my sin. For it was great, such as had not been in Israel.
It took off his mindset and repentance. He wasn't looking at it like, oh, it's okay. I know God's going to forgive me. I'm sorry. He's like,
in himself.
repented 7 years.
Man.
Meat. All right. He don't meet none of that.
Let's move on. We're going to Genesis 34. We'll read this whole chapter. We're going to look at what Simeon and Levi did. And then, because the story's getting real good, y'all. Okay? It's getting real good. We're going to get into it now.
Genesis 34.
And y'all, we need classes like this so you can get the history behind it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And what you claim you in Israel, your forefathers, where they lived at, how they was getting down. You feel me? Sometimes we jump around and piece something together. But at times it's good to read straight through to get some understanding. Timeline and everything. That's what the brother real good at.
The origins.
Yeah. I think Yakin had, where you go? Somebody
Just walked out here.
Somebody had a question in the back. We all good.
Genesis chapter 34, verse 1.
We go back. Yeah, we go back. Okay, hold on, y'all.
I don't want to take you off.
No. We're gonna go right there.
Okay.
Give me my wife.
That's how you zoom in to the right.
For the days of my service are fulfilled. And Laban did so. And Laban and Jacob assembled all the people of that place, and they made a feast. And in the evening, Laban came to the house, and afterwards Jacob came there with the people of the feast. And Laban extinguished all the lights that were in the house.
Cut off the lights.
Light a candle.
Right. Hold down, y'all.
Listen up.
Verse 3. And Jacob said unto Laban, Wherefore dost thou do this thing unto us? And Laban answered, Such is our custom to act in this land.
So he'd been with him all these 7 years, and he didn't tell him this. Yeah. This the fine print. Right. Okay? That he didn't even offer him. Read on.
And afterward Laban took his daughter Leah, and he brought her to Jacob. And he came to her, and Jacob did not know that she was Leah. And Laban gave his daughter Leah his handmaid Zilpah for a handmaid. And all the people at the feast knew what Laban had done to Jacob.
So everybody was in on it. Everybody was in on it, okay? This is the wedding party. He done told all the people ahead of time, this is what I'm going to do to him. And they were in on it and partook in it. Keep reading.
But they did not tell the thing to Jacob. And all the neighbors came that night to Jacob's house. And they ate and drank and rejoiced and played before Leah upon timbrels and with dances. And they responded before Jacob, Helah, Helah. And Jacob heard their words but did not understand their meaning.
See that?
But he thought such might be their custom in this land. And the neighbors spoke these words before Jacob during the night, and all the lights that were in the house Laban had that night extinguished. And in the morning, when daylight appeared, Jacob turned to his wife, and he saw, and behold, it was Leah, that he had been lying in his bosom. And Jacob said, Behold now.
Now I know.
Now, he said, Behold now. I know what the neighbors said last night. Hey, they said, and I knew it not. And then he go on into the other thing.
So he pulled the old bait and switch on them. Yeah. Baited them with Rachel and gave them Leah. All right, now we're going to Genesis 34. We're going to look at what happened with Simeon and Levi.
That's a trick for a trick, right?
Yeah, and see what happened was that was payback for what they had did to Isaac. Jacob and his mother, Rebecca, when they tricked Isaac to get the birthright. So God returns things right back to you, he pay you right back to your face with the same type of thing. So they tricked Isaac and he got tricked by Leah.
This is what it is, man. Both sides is just and fair.
That's right.
Yeah. I'll never forget that.
Were you at Ruben, Genesis 34?
Genesis 34, Genesis chapter 34, verse 1. Genesis chapter 34, verse 1. And Dina, the daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, that's the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and defiled her.
So we see right here now first that we know that Leah had another child for Jacob, which was the daughter, Dina. Okay, she the baby sister now. So think about this, you got 4 big brothers, we know this. There's people like, got 4 big brothers, and this the baby sister. So you know they protective of her, right? And then when you look at it like this is something that we haven't experienced in the righteous way, like this being done, but in our ways, multiple children with different women, okay, and then y'all have to try to make it work. See that? But this so you think about this, you got one mama and the children, you got another mama and the children, they all got the same dad.
Right.
And they're all together.
Right.
See, that's the difference. You ain't got one over on the east side. You all in the same camp. So it ain't no he say, she say, we all in this together. But you think about it like this, you got 4 brothers and a daughter here, you got other brothers and sisters over here, you got other brothers and sisters over here, but they kind of hold in theirs. They own a separate thing. This is my baby sister. So then what happened is that she went out with some other daughters to see the people of the land. Because they're not in their land right now. So it's just like us going to another state. And what's the first thing we do? What's the house? What's going on?
Right.
How we going to kick it?
And now to cut them off, what was happening was in the book of Judges, you read that it was kind of like a beauty pageant going on. So Dina, they went out to see what was going on. And he looked and he said, hey, these Amalek beauties ain't got nothing. Who is this?
Right.
This Israelite dog.
Yep.
So it ain't nothing changed.
Hey, y'all should watch that movie. The movie called Jacob and Esau. It's on YouTube. Everybody in there black. Esau even an albino. But they showed, the whole thing went down with Dina and Shechem.
Yep.
It's called Esau and Jacob. Yep. Jacob and Esau is on YouTube. Everybody black except for Esau. He got albino. They show it's in French, so they got read the subtitles.
Yeah, you see the Canaanites for who they are.
Yeah.
They use the right ones. All right.
Slow y'all.
Slow, family.
That's circumcision.
Oh, boy, you seen that movie? Ooh, that circumcision wasn't no joke.
Here it comes. Read on. Where we at?
Verse 3. And his soul cleaved unto Dina, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel, and spake kindly unto the damsel.
See that? I don't mean to interrupt you right there, but you heard the term, once you go black, you don't go back? Okay, well, this was a whole different nation of people. So, even though they, as far as black, as far as the color of the skin, they're still a different nation of people. So even his daddy gonna tell him, you can find a woman out of your own people that you had to go and get one of these Hebrew women? Okay? We know we got the finest women that walk the face of this earth. And everybody wants them.
Agreed.
Everybody wants them.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right.
Yes. God.
All right, read on.
And Shechem spake unto his father Hamor, saying, get me this damsel to wife. And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dina, his daughters. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they were come.
So think about that now. He know, you really had to pay attention right here. He know what happened to his daughter. And he's by himself. And he know that his daughter had just been raped by this Canaanite. And his sons ain't there. So he had to hold his peace within himself. Because he couldn't, you know, get that anger off and share that right then and right there. When he found out that news, it's like having to wait for somebody else to come that you can really get off into it. So this whole time, he's by himself and he's waiting. I gotta get my boys here, and we gonna handle this. Okay? All right. Read on.
Verse 6. And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out unto Jacob to commune with him. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it.
Like what?
And the men were grieved, and they were very wroth, because he had wrought folly in Israel in laying with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not to be done.
So you see that it say ought not to be done, and that he had wrought folly in Israel. You have defiled one of our own.
Seriously.
And these cats was mad. I'm going to tell y'all, we're going to read something in here that I never forgot. My favorite part of this whole story is coming up, and it's going to give y'all example of the power that we have, that the Most High has given us as being his children. Okay? These cats was mad.
Rightfully so.
See what I'm saying? And everything that they set out to do was just. But remember, the intentions of their own heart. The intentions of their own heart is what made it wrong. The Lord has given us what to do. This ye shall eat. This ye shall not eat. This ye shall wear. This ye shall not wear. Okay? He's given us instructions for everything that covers us in our lives. And somebody tripped. Okay? Read on.
Now, let me say this too also, and it said he wrought folly in Israel. And basically what he did is he forced himself on. And after he had you know, he still done the thing, because if you, the law says you have a virgin, but this was done in Israel, and you take her virginity from her, you have to marry her. Right. And you can't divorce her for life. So he was doing the right thing, but he took her without permission, and he wrought folly. And it's the same folly that you read that David's son, one of David's elder sons, took his other daughter by another mother, and he brought that same folly in Israel. He said, you know, just tell my daddy and we can get married, but don't do this, don't wrought this folly in Israel. Don't take me like that. But the only difference in this man, he was still willing to marry her, being a Hamite, where David's own son, he called his own son, well, get out of this thing, throw out. And his boys throw out. And that was his blood sister. Well, blood sister by his dad, so to speak.
Verse 8. And Hamor communed with them, saying, the soul of my son Shechem longeth for your daughter. I pray you give him for wife, and make ye marriages with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you. And ye shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade ye therefore therein, and get you possessions therein.
See, y'all remember now, see, Jacob moved into their land, okay? And he set up shop. We're going to read about this movement and the place that he moved to. And like I say, all it is that what they did was go to the customs of the people, what they had going on, like their little carnivals or whatever, and they went out there to see them do their thing. That's all it was. But this cat saw her, and he took her, and he raped her, and he fell in love with her. Instead of saying, who is that, and where her daddy at, and I want to do this the right way. Wait.
Hey, y'all write this down, Deuteronomy 7.
I got it. We're going there. Matter of fact, since he brought it up, it's 3 verses. Deuteronomy chapter 7, 1 through 3. We're going to see this, because this is going to come back up. That's why I was holding that what he got. But it's going to come back up when we see this, that we're not supposed to do what we just read.
All right, Deuteronomy 7, 1 through 3. Deuteronomy 7, verse 1. It says, when the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites. That's them. Who we talking about, right
now? The Hivites.
And the Jebusites, 7 nations, greater and mightier than thou. And when Yahweh thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
Now you see, this is what they said to Jacob. Let us do this. Let us, because they wanted to make it right. See what his son did, he wanted to make it right. So this is what the way he offered it to him.
And then it can't be 2 kings though. We either gonna eventually be Israelites or Hivites.
Exactly.
We either gonna keep the customs of our fathers or keep their customs.
Right. And see what he just said. We're gonna see this too. Because if you got 2 people intermingling and say we're gonna come together and do one thing, you can't do one. You can only do one thing because you can't do both. Right. Y'all either gonna come in and serve our God and do what we do, or we have no parts of it. Regardless, bottom line.
That's what it is now.
Verse 4. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. But thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars, and break down their images, and cut down their groves, and burn their graven images with fire. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord your God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
See, we were never taught these things when we were growing up in Christian Saturday, that God had a chosen people. Right. You know,
and that you above.
Right. And then to find out that chosen people is you. You see what I'm saying? We read the words on the page, but to find out that that's you. And this is what he's telling you. I deal with y'all. As for the rest of the world, they have not known me. He made this covenant with our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It goes all down through to us and after us till he comes back. Hallelujah. That's what that scepter is. He made that with us. And he told us, don't do this. See, segregation is what it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
It's what it's supposed to be. But see, we the ones that want to run to everybody else, and then we see how these people who say that they hate us, and they show us every day that they hate us, but they take all our stuff. Right. Want to talk like us, walk like us, and it make me so bad they want to drive our cars. Right. See 2 Gentiles leaning in a caddy. So like I say, this is what he gave for us. You see, by us not knowing, it's like he's out on the street earlier, telling people that we don't know these things, and then our so-called leaders ain't telling us.
No.
They're not telling us. And then to find out who you are, that makes your chest fill full of air, and it gives you that sense of pride that we've been lacking. And we give everything all praises and glory. When you find out when Christ said it, when Matthew 1, they say he came to save his people from their sins. So not the world. That's what it is. So when you see these white supremacists out here hollering, segregation forever. Segregation forever. We with you. And this ain't from their point of view. It's not from their perspective. You don't want to be with me? Fine. I don't want to be with you first. Goodbye. First.
That's how Jacob was.
But the fact is that if they come to us, and then the same thing as what he made us as being a kingdom of priests, we're supposed to be giving them that word. So you cannot be slack on that. When they say something to you, you got to stand up. And you got to make it be known. This is how I roll. This is who I roll with. You can get down with this if you want to.
They tell you God made all the nations so we all can learn from each other, learn each other God's ways and customs.
What?
They tell you.
What kind of book are you reading? Get the flipping in.
But that's what that.
Yeah, the script precept of Leviticus 20, verse 26, show the segregation. It says, and ye shall be holy unto me. For I, the Lord, am holy, and have served you from other people, and ye shall be mine. So clearly we already know the word holy means set apart. I set you apart.
And severed you.
Severed you, right? That's separate.
Right.
You know, it's supposed to be a light to the nation.
Right. Also write down Deuteronomy 32, verse 8 and 9 is, a precept for that.
And Judah tried to stay separate, but they
Whenever, you know what?
started messing with them.
And that's another thing too. This is the reason why this one right here is so far, because it was like never supposed to happen. Like,
All right,
he's trying to make it right. Yeah, it's gonna break it down.
Genesis chapter 34, verse 11.
You know, it says the one thing, y'all, there's a minor difference when you're in captivity. That's the only difference. See, all these other times we had our own government.
Right.
We was running everything, so we had our own set of laws. But when you in a nation or whenever we in captivity, that separatists have to be within yourself to understand who you are as a people. But you have to really, like you say, because either you're going to either take the house, you're going to go to the White House and take it, or you're going to go to the Egyptian house and take it. But you can't take it in bondage. You know, you have to bind the strong man so that he come to your side. So a lot of times, y'all, when we was in the land of Canaan, y'all, we was running our own thing. We had our own priests, we had our own navy, we had everything. So at that point, we could totally be separate from the other nations. But within a nation, when they running it and they have the rules, you can't make no law. You can't make your own money. Basically, what you have to do, you have to go to them and tell them. That's where you would have to stand on. If their laws come to you like Daniel, they told him, look, when the king say this, you got to bow down. He said, I don't bow down to no other king. When y'all got to kill me, then that's what y'all got to do.
Right.
So we need to understand, these don't apply when you're in captivity.
Right. It's an excellent point.
It's a different set of circumstances because you have to take the strong man's house.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mindset thing. It's like, I mean, you can still, because this is they empire. Right. But you still got to deal with them, so you got to go to work and do all that. But in spirit, you are not them.
Right.
You need to get away from all their traditions, everything they doing.
Right.
You feel me? And live like God's people.
That's right.
Yeah, you want to deal with them because we got to go to work, we got to make money, we got to take care of our children.
Right.
We got to go to the court, pay for these tickets. I mean, we want to go through that. But you can still live as a separate nation amongst them.
Right.
We don't do what they do.
And see, that's the extra point.
That's what God has heard, doing what they do.
Right. And the point is, the key to it about being in captivity, like I said, is an excellent point his brother brought up, is because just because your job got Santa Claus breakfast on your job with a tree, and they serving up sausage and eggs, don't mean you got to partake. Don't mean you got to partake. And then when they ask you why, that's all you got to say.
Right.
That's all you have to do is make it known, hey, this is a feast that I do not partake in according to the laws of my God that I follow, that you say you follow. But the fact is, I try to follow as best I can. He told me don't do that. So I can't do it.
And have that same courage across the board.
Exactly.
You got to have that across the board. Family, job, children, spouse, whoever. You got to deal with this truth, man.
That's right.
The Lord is not sitting on his throne like, oh, well, so-and-so down there doesn't quite like the way that was said. So,
Right.
And he going to alter what he got already set in stone.
Right.
Because of my feelings are yours.
Right.
It don't matter. Like we ain't even important.
Right.
You feel me? It's all about the Lord and what he got going on. So either we on his team or we're going to try to find out ways to get around what he's saying. And in the end, you ain't doing nothing but align yourself right in this crosshair.
See, like just past November, when I got, walking across the parking lot at the job and go in that morning, me and his brother met at the door going in together. And he had this expression on his face is what made me ask. Like, what's up, brother? How you doing this morning? He was like, I'm like, what's going on? He like, Thanksgiving. It was that week. And before I knew it, I had struck it off as the abomination that it is. I'm like, oh no. And he was like, what's the matter? You don't like turkey? I said, no, I don't celebrate turkey. And he said, I said, that's something you can eat any day of the year. I said, I just don't celebrate Christmas either.
Right.
And he was like, really? And I said, yeah. I said, well, if you'd like to know more, you know, we can rap about it. He said, no, I want to eat.
He wasn't partake.
He said, 364 days, I get 2 million.
Well, he knew he was going to be held accountable once he knew. So that's why he was saying, no, I don't want to.
Right.
Go ahead,
I got a question. So, when I was reading in that book of Jasher, it was talking about after Reuben that laid with Jacob's wife, right? It said that he split it up and gave the birthright to Joseph, right?
Right.
So is that why they was at each other's throat like that? Because all of them was trying to...
No. Because actually it was Reuben who saved Joseph's life when the other brothers wanted to kill him.
Yeah, that's what. But is that why the other ones wanted to kill him? Because they...
No, that was all just pure jealousy.
Say a little louder.
I was saying after Reuben slept with Jacob's wife and gave Joseph the birthright. Right. And if you read the 12 patriarchs, all of them was trying to kill Joseph and basically trying to kill each other.
Right.
Was that what sparked it?
Go back to Genesis 37. Genesis the 37th chapter. They was jealous over Joseph.
Right.
Because of how Jacob loved, like he loved Rachel more than Leah. He loved Joseph more than the rest of his boys. Right. Because she was the firstborn, he was the firstborn from Rachel.
Joseph and Benjamin were the products of Rachel.
Hey, but read that chapter 37 of Genesis, you'll see that jealousy started way before. Right. You feel me? Reuben even did what he did.
Right.
Sibling rivalry, they call it today.
See, what you'll see is that it was Reuben who saved Joseph's life when the other 9 brothers wanted to kill him. Right. You know, and they was like, we'll just kill him and rip his coat up and put some sheep blood on it until Popsy got destroyed by a beast. And they threw him down that pit, and Reuben said, no, we ain't gonna kill him. That's when they sold him to those Israelites going by. So that's but if it wasn't for Reuben, Joseph would have been slain by his own brothers. Okay, let's read on.
Genesis chapter 34, verse 11.
Go down, y'all.
And Shechem said unto her father.
His father.
And Shechem.
Her father. Yeah, I'm sorry.
And Shechem said unto her father and unto her brethren, let me find grace in your eyes, and what ye shall say unto me I will give. Ask me never so much dowry and gift, and I will give according as ye shall say unto me. But give me the damsel to wife.
So no matter what, name your price, and I'll pay it. But just give her to me. No, he'd have done anything in his power to get that girl and make it right. Read on.
And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor, his father, deceitfully, and said, because he had defiled Dina, their sister. And they said unto them, we cannot do this thing to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised. For that were a reproach unto us. But in this will we consent unto you, if ye will be as we be, that every male of you be circumcised.
Now, hold on, y'all know that, you remember now, that was the sign of the covenant that God made with Abraham. Abraham was the first man to be circumcised. Okay? He circumcised him and his whole house, even Ishmael. You read where Ishmael told Isaac, he pulled back his loincloth and looked and said, look, you think you the only one that's special? Nope. I'm special too.
Ancient world.
I'm circumcised too. That covenant that is made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Ishmael. Because see, Ishmael had commandments, statutes, judgments, and laws. He didn't have Islam.
Absolutely.
There was no such thing as Islam.
No.
The word aha was never uttered as a guy. Okay? Because he's a joke. But the fact of it is, that was the covenant. So Abraham was the first man that ever, and that was a sign, an outer sign. Because his heart was circumcised first. But that was an outer sign to the rest of the world of who these people are. And he said that that is a reproach unto us. We can't give our daughter to one that is uncircumcised.
Heathen.
Right. That's the same thing David called Goliath. Y'all letting this uncircumcised heathen blow on our God and y'all ain't doing nothing?
Right. Right. These are all dark skinned people, y'all. Here. So y'all, we understand this is about nationhood, not color. Right. Because every father in these scriptures named Black. Right. Who was the son of Jacob, who was the son of Joseph, who was the son of Black. These was right. It ain't in here. Right.
The blacks that we know ain't these blacks.
These was African heathens.
Right. All right, keep reading.
Verse 16. Then will we give our daughter unto you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people. But if ye will not hearken unto us to be circumcised, then will we take our daughter, and we will be gone. And their words pleased Hamor, and Shechem, Hamor's son. And the young man deferred not to do the thing, because he had delight in Jacob's daughter, and he was more honorable than all the house of his father.
He said he deferred not. That means he made haste. This is what I got to do to get her. Let's make it happen. Right. And it was put on him. The ball was in his court, so he was off and running. Keep reading.
And Hamor and Shechem, his son, came into the gate of their city, and communed with the men of their city, saying, these men are peaceable with us. Therefore, let them dwell in the land, and trade therein. For the land, behold, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters to us for wives, and let us give them our daughters.
And what you say, see, they came back to the men of their city. So, now, this is, because I thought about this yesterday. We see that there's things that our children do that get us in trouble. Things that our children run off and do that we have to make amends for and make right. Right. So now what Shechem did affects his whole entire city. You out making a deal with somebody and you ain't said nothing to us. How you gonna tell me what I gotta do? And this is going to come back. Let's keep reading. Told y'all it's going to get good.
Verse 22.
Let's keep it going.
Only herein will the men consent unto us for to dwell with us, to be one people. If every male among us be circumcised, as they are circumcised, shall not their cattle and their substance and every beast of theirs be ours. Only let us consent unto them, and they will dwell with us. And unto Hamor, and unto Shechem, his son, hearken all that went out of the gate of his city, and every male was circumcised, all that went out of the gate of his city. And it came to pass, and it came to pass on the third day, when they were sold, that two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dina's brethren, took each man his sword, and came upon the city boldly, and slew all the men.
Two of them.
And y'all understand this, y'all? They were sore, so legs was gapped open. They were just laying in the bed. Couldn't walk. You know, for any of you brothers who got it late, I was a late brother, 12 years old, so I had Fred Sanford walking. That's right. You know, so yeah, so y'all understand the soreness of that. And Abraham was 99 years old when he got it. So y'all can imagine how he was walking.
Nervous 14.
Oh yeah.
Y'all seen the actual ancient time how they used to do it? They still doing it in Africa, the ancient way.
Watch that movie Jacob and Esau.
They showed it in there too.
Y'all was looking at that, y'all was thinking, you know, causing some swimming pool shrinkage, but it wasn't. It was actually just pulling the foreskin up and then chop it off.
Hey, he wasn't even looking. Get him up here.
y'all. You got a question?
Just is there a significance of the 8
days? Yes. That's what I was just going to get on. We know that all our males were circumcised after they were born 8 days later. That's a part of the covenant. And also that's when the blood clots.
Right.
Okay? So we see here in this land that we are immediately circumcised here in hospitals. Okay? But I want to say this, and I don't want to say it wrongly. I want you all to do this yourself. Are you young men out there that are trying to have children, sons? Look into it. Because just because this land tells us that you get circumcised right at the hospital when you're born, look into it ahead of time and see if you can have your child circumcised when the covenant says that you can be born. Even if they have.
You can.
So, because I heard once that would cost an extra to wait or whatever.
It will,
but
it's going to cost some money.
Let's keep in mind about, see, if I'd have known this ahead of time, then I could have done that with my own son. But the fact that, look into this as far as keeping this covenant that the Lord made, not man. Right. So you have a son, you know before he come out the womb when he's going to be circumcised, because when you say it the way the Lord did. Come on. Go ahead.
Yeah, also to add to that, to the brother's question, Leviticus 12, verse 1 to 4, it says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a woman have conceived seed and born a man child, then she shall be unclean 7 days. According to the days of the separation of her infirmity, she shall be unclean. And in the eighth day, the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised, and she shall continue in the blood of her purifying 3 days. She shall touch no hollow thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the days of her purification be fulfilled."
So you see right there, the 8th day is when that happens. So, like I said, I speak as a man. To my brother.
And you can't, like bro say, it's gonna cost you, because right now a woman was to like say 33 days supposed to be just chilling from any activity, but they'll throw you out the hospital in 2 days after that. They're like, you got to get going. Get your bag and get on the bed. You call the cab. We need that bed. We need that bed. Right. And y'all, and then what they'll use is clotting material. They have a substance or some form of medication that'll cause the blood to clot. Immediately they do it for bad wounds, you know, in the army they have, if you get shot out in the field or whatever, they put this substance on it, it'll clot immediately. So they'll do that, put that around the child. But if you can afford it, you know, seek it out. But if you can't, you know, you have to understand that forgiveness for to the Most High. Yeah. But at least your child is circumcised. Right. Go ahead, bro.
This is kind of disgusting, but where did
how bad, man? Hold on, we got a children radar level that we can't go above.
Well, it's about the circumcision, like the white Jews. Where did this come from?
We know. From the town. And what he's talking about, they do oral circumcision. The rabbis with their teeth. Google it right now.
Listen up, listen up.
Epidemic right now, y'all. Did they pass an HIV to these?
Syphilis too.
But it's just a form of perversion, because in that same Talmud, they say they can have relations with a boy as long as he ain't made it to 9 years old.
Yeah, that's in the Talmud.
He can argue with God. He can argue with God, and God is wrong.
Right.
That Christ is in hell boiling in hot scenes. Like
Right.
God is in the Talmud.
Right. So y'all understand, because they call themselves Jews or they say Torah, but their works do Talmud and Kabbalah.
Exactly. And for y'all to think y'all Africans or whatever, they circumcise their women in Africa.
That's right.
Certain parts of Africa, they circumcise their women, not the men. Ask yourself, where they do that?
All right, y'all, keep moving.
The hood. All right, hold down, y'all keep rolling. We got on.
Genesis chapter 34, verse 26. And they slew Hamor and Shechem, his son, with the edge of the sword, and took Dina out of Shechem's house, and went out. And the sons of Jacob came upon the slain, and spoiled the city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their sheep and their oxen, and their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field.
Wow. Amen.
And all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their wives, they took they captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house.
Warfare.
And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites, and among the Perizzites. And I, being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me, and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. And they said, should he deal with our sister as with an harlot?
He treated my sister like she was a harlot.
And then when y'all get in the book of Joshua, like we actually went to war after that.
Oh yeah.
Because of what happened, and Levi and Simeon killed those men, the whole city. Everybody started spreading word about the sons of Jacob. We're gonna read that. That's 10 sons and all these servants, only like 100. They went to war with like, how many people? How many?
It was 7. It was 7 kings who each had like 100,000 men army. So you're talking about 700,000 men.
And you ain't got enough soldiers to defeat these sons of Jacob.
So we're gonna read that exactly.
You ain't bringing enough soldiers.
When you
got
see that,
men but not soldiers.
when you see that, we going right there. We gonna get that.
And y'all, and what we have to understand also, because prophecy had to be fulfilled, we'll never be wiped out anyway. Right. So no matter how much black on black crime we do, or how much crime they do against us, for 100,000 of us died, 300,000 born in that set. You know, so because the promise was we'll populate as the stars of the sky. So we innumerable. So y'all, they can never wipe us out as a nation, nor miscegenate us out. You know, we actually do the opposite to all the other nations on planet Earth. That's why they really want to keep us separate from getting with they women, because we'll basically miscegenate the earth. It'll be all Israel on the earth. But the main thing was, y'all, because circumcision was a covenant of God, and they made that covenant. And we read about vows. When you make a vow to the Lord, that covenant was a vow to the Lord. Even though it was wrong what Shechem did, we still made a covenant and doubled back on it. So we went back on our word. If they had let it be, Haman was going to get slaughtered anyway. Yeah. But because Levi went back on his daddy, he brought a curse upon his dad. More or less because his daddy just said, okay, that's what we'll do. That's what we'll sign up for. And then not only this, but they said, we coming to y'all side.
Right. And see, Jacob wanted to maintain peace. So see, he living in a land that ain't his next to these people, and he wanted to be peaceful with them. Not that he wanted to join in with them, but he wasn't going to make no trouble.
Well, and like I said, they came on our side. They was willing to take on everything that our God had to offer and become Israelites, spiritual Israelites, so to speak, a proselyte. You know, to come into the fold of Israel and Shechem them, Reuben and Simeon and Levi just wasn't happy. You know, they looked at the other brothers and said, well, y'all don't have a sister that this happened to. Even though they all had the same dad, there was a special bond between them, but they should have just told their dad straight out, no, Dad, we ain't going for that. You know, if we all have to die, we're going to die, but we ain't making no covenant with them like the law say. You know, but once the covenant is made, you can't go back on it. Just like when Jacob got the covenant from Esau and dressed up like dressed up like Esau to Isaac, and then Esau came in crying and said, look, I can't take the blessing back. He got it. Ain't no reverse process.
Right.
So once the blessing, that's why I say don't vow to the Lord unless you sure you won't keep it, because if you don't, it's going to be trouble.
All right, y'all. This is what I've been waiting for. We're going to the book of Joshua, 33. And it is detail about this wedding story not the wedding story, but how the sisters and daughters of Israel went out to see the other land, and the detailed stories of what Shechem did, how this deception that when Simeon and Levi answered them deceitfully, we're going to see this deceit on both sides. Okay, we're going to see it on both sides.
Show us when to say something.
Right.
Well, we got some new people here explaining that, Josh.
Okay. I said earlier.
They came in now.
Yeah, I said earlier for anybody that's new that in Joshua 10 and 13 and 2 Samuel 1 and 18, it says it on the front of the book, but if you read those two scriptures, the Lord tells us that these other books in the Bible, that the Bible mentions, that we read out of. You can Google the books of the Bible that are mentioned in the Bible, and it will give you a whole list of all these other books that are in here that the Bible talks about for us to read. That's why by studying this book of Joshua, we go as a second witness to everything that we're going through here. You seeing that the same story is in the script and is in Joshua, but it goes into this detail. These 66 books are a summary. These other books go into the whole details of the actual accounts that you get to see that explain. Like a lot of people say they don't understand the Bible because they skip around and it's missing parts and things like this. These other books fill in these missing parts that you can't find for these stories.
Day to day.
Exactly. Day to day accounts. He woke up this morning, he laid down with his wife, he woke up, had another wife. See that? Have you seen that? Yep. Thank you. All right, let's keep reading.
Book of Joshua, chapter 33.
For all y'all who don't have it, it's up on the board, so just read it on the board.
You know. I don't think you expand it on
You started one?
Yeah. We read, I got the whole class printed out on another screen here that you all can, as soon as we get done, this is everything that I got, so, for what I put together. So, after we get done in these books, I can put this right back up for anybody who didn't get it, and you can get the whole class right here of what we're going over today. So let's get this, 33 and 1.
Book of Joshua, chapter 33, verse 1. And in some time after Jacob went away from the borders of the land, and he came to the land of Shechem, that is the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, and he rested in the front of the city. And he bought a parcel from the field which was there, from the children of Hamor, the people of the land, for 5 shekels.
That's some good land prices there. 5 shekels. So he bought a piece of land, y'all, for his people.
So Jacob had silver and gold.
That's right, sir. And see, he just didn't move over there next to them and just set up shop. No, he made this right. I got my people here, and I need this little piece of land from y'all. Y'all sell it to me for us to have a place for us to dwell in right here. So now they got their own little setup, right? They live, like I say, you just picture East St. Louis, they just right outside of it, right? So you next, it's like us looking over at East St. Louis. We know it's there, and those are the people that are over there, and these are the things that they do. We over here, we looking over there and see them getting down, so we just go over and look, that's all. You didn't read nowhere where they partook.
Living as a nation
right.
in the midst of another nation.
Right, they just was checking them out. They having their little festivals, things going on. They were just over there checking them out. That's all. They just arrived in a new land. Okay?
On the very land where the Lord's going to set up the kingdom of heaven.
That's right.
On this way, these people going to have to
the land of Canaan. Right. Today, Jerusalem today is still the land of Canaan. You cannot remove a man's landmark.
Right.
Okay? Let's read on.
Verse 3. And Jacob there built himself a house, and he pitched his tent there, and he made booths for his cattle. Therefore he called the name of that place Sukkot.
So you see that? The booth that he set up, that he pitched, is actually the name of a feast that we keep.
That's right.
Okay, the Feast Tabernacles. We dwell in booths. And you can see we was wandering then, and that's exactly, he called this day. So he named the land after what they were doing. It's Sukkot. You know.
And Jacob remained in Sukkot a year and 6 months. And at that time, some of the women of the inhabitants of the land went to the city of Shechem to dance and rejoice with the daughters of the people of the city.
Time to go out. Let her rub, girl.
Time to wind down.
And when they went forth, then Rachel and Leah, the wives of Jacob, with their families, also went to behold the rejoicing of the daughters of the city. And Dina, the daughter of Jacob, also went along with them and saw the daughters of the city. And they remained there before these daughters, whilst all the people of the city were standing by them to behold their rejoicing. And all the great people of the city were there. And Shechem and his son Hamor, and Shechem the son of Hamor, the prince of the land, was also standing there to see them.
Okay, and I haven't tripped off this in all this, putting this together. We see that Rachel's still alive. Okay? Rachel is still alive, so she's there. And this is Leah's daughter. And you see Leah and Rachel there together with their children? All right, Rachel is still alive. Read on, brother.
And Shechem beheld Dina, the daughter of Jacob, sitting with her mother before the daughters of the city. And the damsel pleased him greatly.
Ooh, where she from? Look at that. See that? So, like I say, we keep seeing over and over throughout these scriptures how beautiful our women were. Yeah. Genesis chapter 6, the angels, the sons of God, look down upon the daughters of men. The book of Jude, they left their what? First estate.
First estate, yeah. Habitation.
They looked down and said, I got to have that, and they left. So just imagine, y'all look in the mirror to ourselves, but the fact of it is, just when you think, it always look back and say, man, I wish I could see what she looked like. Just because the comparison. No, you don't. No, you don't. I'm in trouble too, though. They already have. Take the book down. You ever hear that? You gave me a finger. You're right. He put me where I was supposed to be. You put a cat like someone on the curve, boy. You want to put a horse with a cat like someone on the curve.
In the words of Ruben and the 12 patriarchs, pay no heed to the face of a woman.
If he took it, Father told me. He took it.
You know, them women too beautiful.
All right, where we at? Verse 8.
Started something early.
That's right.
Go down now, go ahead.
And Shechem beheld Dina, the daughter of Jacob, sitting with her mother before the daughters of the city. And the damsel pleased him greatly. And he there asked his friends and his people, saying, whose daughter is that? Sitting amongst the women, whom I do not know in this city.
There it is, y'all.
And they said unto him, surely this is the daughter of Jacob, the son of Isaac the Hebrew.
The what?
The Hebrew, who has dwelt in this city for some time. And when it was reported that the daughters of the land were going forth to rejoice, she went with her mother and maidservant to sit amongst them as thou seest. And Shechem beheld Dina, the daughter of Jacob. And when he looked at her, his soul became fixed upon Dina. And he sent and had her taken by force.
He sent somebody to take her.
And Dina came to the house of Shechem, and he seized her forcibly, and lay with her, and humbled her. And he loved her exceedingly, and placed her in his house.
So we see here that he raped her. Right. He raped her, and he fell in love. The opposite of what we normally see, and you done. Right.
So good.
Okay. Now, it said his soul longed at her. He took her by force, he raped her, and he fell in love with her. And he had to happen, no matter what. Let's keep reading.
And they came, verse 12. And they came to hold the thing unto Jacob. And when Jacob heard that Shechem had defiled his daughter Dina, Jacob sent 12 of his servants to fetch Dina from the house of Shechem. And they went in and came to the house of Shechem to take away Dina from there. And when they came, Shechem went out to them with his men and drove them from his house. And he would not suffer them to come before Dina.
Can't have her back.
But Shechem was sitting with Dina, kissing and embracing her before their eyes.
Check it out. Jacob already know what happened. So he sent men to go get her, and he's like, y'all ain't taking her back, and look at this. I got her right here. I got her. And he did that before her, licking all in her ears and all that. You can't have her back. I got her. Okay, so now after he done humbled her, then his father sent for them to bring her back, and they didn't bring her back. He was already mad. And we still ain't got to the brothers. Let's read.
And the servants of Jacob came back and told him, saying, when we came, he and his men drove us away, and thus did Shechem do unto Dina before our eyes. And Jacob knew, moreover, that Shechem had defiled his daughter, but he said nothing. And his sons were feeding his cattle in the field, and Jacob remained silent till their return.
See, they still, all this took place back and forth, before the brothers even found out. They still out in the field. Yeah. So Jacob found out that his daughter got raped. He sent to get to bring her home, and the nigga said, no, you can't have her back. And he's still there by himself. All right, 16.
And before his sons came home, Jacob sent two maidens from his servants, daughters, to take care of Dina in the house of Shechem.
So he didn't leave her there alone. He sent somebody to take care of her. You know.
And to remain with her. And Shechem sent 3 of his friends to his father Hamor, the son of Shechem, the son of Pered, saying, get me this damsel for a wife. And Hamor, the son of Shechem, the Hivite, came to the house of Shechem, his son, and he sat before him. And Hamor said unto his son, Shechem, is there then no woman amongst the daughters of thy people that thou wilt take an Hebrew woman who is not of thy people?
So remember, this is the prince. Shechem is the prince of the city. So there's no trouble in trying to get a wife. Right. But out of all of our own daughters, you want a Hebrew? Let's keep reading.
And Shechem said to him, her only must thou get for me.
Her only.
For she is delightful in my sight. And Hamor did according to the word of his son, for he was greatly beloved by him. And Hamor went forth to Jacob to commune with him concerning this matter. And when he had gone from the house of his son Shechem, before he came to Jacob to speak unto him, behold, the sons of Jacob had come from the field. As soon as they heard the thing that Shechem, the son of Hamor, had done, and the men were very much grieved concerning their sister. And they all came home, fired with anger, before the time of the gathering in their cabin. And they came and sat before their father, and they spoke unto him, kindled with wrath, saying, surely death is due to this man and to his household, because the Lord God of the whole earth commanded Noah and his children that man shall never rob nor commit adultery. Now behold, Shechem has both ravaged and committed fornication with our sister. And not one of all the people of the city spoke a word to him.
See? So now you got all 12 brothers home. And they PO'd about this. And they, I mean, see, living under what God has gave us to do, they said, this is not what the Lord commanded us to do. That Deuteronomy 7, where we read that 1 through 3 about making mixed marriages, they said it right off their mouth.
That's fornication.
The Lord God of the whole earth commanded Noah and his children that man shall never rob nor commit adultery. And he done both of them to us.
Which proves that the laws
That's right. And they go for everybody. They go for everybody. They go for everybody. If he'd have just done it right the first time by saying, like you're supposed to, you go to the father and you talk to him about his daughter.
He knew he'd been rejected.
Right.
You can't have her. No.
Right.
I can't have her, so. If he came Holland, he'd have been rejected right off the bat. Like, no, you a heathen. No.
Right.
And people want our daughters? No, bye.
Right.
What our God knows this can't happen.
So, verse 22.
Surely thou knowest and understand that judgment of death is due unto Shechem, and to his father, and to the whole city on account of the thing which he has done.
So remember now I said now how our children do things that cause us to have to, either get in trouble or have to make right.
Right.
Like if your son playing in the yard, he break out the neighbor's window, it's you over there. I need to pay for this window that my son broke out.
Right.
You got to make it right.
Yeah.
But this is an example of this. This was a life and death situation here.
That's right.
Keep going.
And while as they were speaking before their father in this matter, behold, Hamor the father of Shechem came to speak to Jacob the words of his son concerning Dina. And he sat before Jacob and before his sons.
I wouldn't want to be in that tent.
And Hamor spoke unto them, saying, the soul of my son Shechem longeth for your daughter. I pray you give her unto him for a wife, and intermarry with us. Give us your daughters, and we will give you our daughters. And you shall dwell with us in our land, and we will be as one people in the land. For our land is very extensive, so dwell ye and trade therein, and get possession in it, and do therein as you desire, and no one shall prevent you by saying a word to you. And Hamor ceased speaking unto Jacob and his sons, and behold, Shechem his son had come after him, and he sat before them. And Shechem spoke before Jacob and his son, saying, may I find favor in your sight, that you will give me your daughter, and whatever ye say unto me, that will I do for her. Ask me for abundance of dowry and gift, and I will give it. And whatever ye shall say unto me, that will I do. And whoever he be that will rebel against your orders, he shall die. Only give me the damsel for a wife.
Come to set up, y'all.
And Simeon and Levi answered Hamor and Shechem, his son, deceitfully, saying, all you have spoken unto us, we will do for you.
So, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when, you read these stories and you sitting there, you're visualizing them like they're a movie.
Yeah.
I just visualized all the 12 brothers sitting there with their father and these two cats here, Shechem and Hamor, and I just picture Simeon and Levi sitting there next to each other. You know how everybody's in a group but two people are whispering? See that? Right. It says Simeon and Levi answered them deceitfully. So all this is going on, and these two cats are sitting there like, yeah, man, this is what's going to happen. Just like this. You got me? I'm with you.
Right.
You see that?
We got to talk. We just know their look.
Right.
Right.
So that's exactly what the way I pictured this story, seeing this, is that these two here, they answered them, and they're the ones that spoke up. You don't see that Reuben spoke up, Judah, or Joseph, or Benjamin, or any other brothers. There's these two cats here speaking up. They said they answered him deceitfully. Keep reading.
Verse 30. And behold, our sister is in your house, but keep away from her until we send to our father Isaac concerning this matter. For we can do nothing without his consent.
Okay, now you see that Jacob, you ain't hearing Jacob say nothing yet, right? So they said, let us go and talk to our grandfather concerning this matter of what we should do. Either one got more history of being with the Most High and how we are supposed to do, because you're going to see the same thing on the reverse side. Okay, they want to go back and talk to Isaac and get advice from him and see what we're supposed to do on this matter. Okay, and then you're going to see something else happen on the flip side of the other people. Same thing. Let's go.
For he knoweth the ways of our father Abraham, and whatever he saith unto us, we will tell you. We will conceal nothing from you. And Simeon and Levi spoke this unto Shechem and his father in order to find a pretext and to seek counsel what was to be done to Shechem and to the city in this matter.
They find themselves some time.
And y'all, like Mally said, if y'all want to see the exact story we read right now, go out on YouTube. It's called Esau and Jacob.
Right.
I mean, it's going, as we reading along, it's filmed the exact same way.
There's a long story out too. You read 10?
It's another one.
It's another one that just came out.
It's another one.
Read 10?
Yeah, that's the one that we got floating around here somewhere on DVD.
Yeah,
They show Esau as being red.
It's not accurate. He said it's not accurate. The red tint. Alright.
Okay, wait.
Verse 33. And when Shechem and his father heard the words of Simeon and Levi, it seemed good in their sight. And Shechem and his father came forth to go home.
So they like, okay, we done made peace, everything cool. They forgive us for what you did. You gonna get your wife, Dina, their sister. We gonna live peacefully. Everything gonna be cool. Let's go.
And when they had gone, the sons of Jacob said unto their father, saying, Behold, we know that death is due to these wicked ones and to their city, because they transgressed that which God had commanded unto Noah and his children and his seed after them.
You see, now they just made this agreement. These two cats on their camels headed back to the crib Jesus. And as soon as they leave,
They like, yeah, whatever.
right.
Yeah, these kids.
They believe us. We just buying time to do what we're going to do. Come on.
And also because Shechem did this thing to our sister, Dina, in defiling her. For such vileness shall never be done among us. Now therefore, know and see what ye will do, and seek counsel and pretext what is to be done to them, in order to kill all the inhabitants of this city. And Simeon said to them, Here is a proper advice for you. Tell them to circumcise every male amongst them, as we have circumcised. And if they do not wish to do this, we shall take our daughter from them and go away. And if they consent to do this, we will do it. Then when they are sunk down with pain, we will attack them with our swords, as upon one who is quiet and peaceable. And we will slay every male prisoner amongst them.
Believe me, you will be sunk down with pain.
And it says that, so you see, it says, upon one who is quiet and peaceful. They moving in like ninjas.
Yeah.
Straight up. They slipping right in. It's not like they got to fight. All they got to do is kill. House to house.
Looked up and seen that sword.
Okay, come on.
And Simeon's advice pleased them. And Simeon and Levi resolved to do unto them as it was proposed.
So they lied, and they were in, what's the word?
Cognito.
They were confederate. They were confederate together.
So all the brothers know about the plan though?
Nope.
Just them two?
Just them two. Read on.
And on the next morning, Shechem and Hamor, his father, came unto Jacob and his sons to speak concerning Dina, and to hear what answer the sons of Jacob would give to their words. And the sons of Jacob spoke deceitfully to them, saying, We told our father Isaac all your words, and all your words pleased him.
So they lied to him. Keep the your happy joy feeling and everything's gonna be all right going on. Right. So go on and do what you gotta do, and we gonna keep moving. Go ahead.
But he spoke unto us, saying, Thus did Abraham his father command him from God, the Lord of the whole earth, that any man who is not of his descendants that should wish to take one of his daughters shall cause every male belonging to him to be circumcised, as we are circumcised, and then we may give him our daughter for a wife. Now we have made known to you all our ways that our father spoke unto us, for we cannot do this of which you spoke unto us, to give our daughter to an uncircumcised man, for it is a disgrace to us. But herein we will consent to you to give you our daughter, and we will also take unto ourselves your daughters, and will dwell amongst you, and be one people, as you have spoken, if you will hearken to us, and consent to be like us, to circumcise every male belonging to you, as we are circumcised. And if you will not hearken unto us, to have every male circumcised as we are circumcised, as we have commanded, then we will come to you and take our daughter from you and go away. And Shechem and his father Hamor heard the words of the sons of Jacob, and the thing pleased them exceedingly. And Shechem and his father Hamor hastened to do the wishes of the sons of Jacob. For Shechem was very fond of Dina, and his soul was riveted to her. And Shechem and his father Hamor hastened to the gate of the city, and they assembled all the men of their city, and spoke unto them the words of the sons of Jacob, saying, We came to these men, the sons of Jacob, and we spoke unto them concerning their daughter, and these men will consent to do according to our wishes. And behold, our land is of great extent for them, and they will dwell in it, and trade in it, and we shall be one people. We will take their daughters, and our daughters we will give unto them for wives.
Now, see, remember where we are at this time. These two cats went out and made a deal with somebody on their own. So now you got a whole city of your own people that they know the situation of what happened, but they didn't know nothing about this deal. You done went outside of us with another people, and you done made a deal. But you didn't make this deal. You didn't consult us first. See, trying to make things right that your children do, okay, it's more than you that's involved in this.
That's right.
Let's keep reading.
I'm going to say this too. And see, y'all see, this just comes with drunken with power. When you know your father is a king, usually a prince, will get out of control. You know, and the same thing happened with our strong man Samson. A lot of people think that his hair cut off was what caused him to get took down. Actually, in Judges 14, he did the same thing. Because every nation got at least, you know, a few beauties in them. Samson saw the same thing. He like, look, I need her to come to wife. And his daddy said the same thing. I know all the 12 tribes of Israel. And that was fine. He like, look, Dad, you saw what I did with that jawbone up and ass. Now get her to me to wife right now. Give me the time. I got to have it. So, y'all, it's when power could run them up, y'all. So that's why you have to always keep it in check. No matter, you know, that's why I say hardly shall a rich man enter to the kingdom. You can be rich with power too. And it causes you a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Because you want what you ain't supposed to have.
Right.
Go ahead, brother.
Verse 49. But only on this condition will these men consent to do this thing, that every male amongst us be circumcised as they are circumcised, as their God commanded them. And when we shall have done according to their instructions to be circumcised, then will they dwell among us, together with their cattle and possessions, and we shall be as one people with them. And when all the men of the city heard the words of Shechem and his father Hamor, then all the men of their city were agreeable to this proposal, and they obeyed to be circumcised. For Shechem and his father Hamor were greatly esteemed by them, being the princes of the land. And on the next day, Shechem and Hamor, his father, rose up early in the morning, and they assembled all the men of their city unto the middle of the city. And they called for the sons of Jacob, who circumcised every male belonging to them on that day and the next day.
So not only did they got circumcised according to the way, the custom, the way it's supposed to be done. Okay? Oh yeah, keep going.
And they circumcised Shechem and Hamor, his father, and the 5 brothers of Shechem. And then everyone rose up and went home, for this thing was from the Lord against the city of Shechem.
Oh.
And the Lord, and from the Lord was Simeon's counsel in this matter. From the Lord.
Okay. Y'all see this though, right? Finishes off now, and then I'm going to speak on it.
Lord behind it, huh?
In order that the Lord might deliver the city of Shechem unto the hand of Jacob's 2 sons.
See? So, we see now that the Lord set Simeon and Levi up to do this, to pay back, to make right what was wrong.
Right.
But see, it's the intent of their own hearts.
Right. Still gonna lose the birthright behind.
Bottom line, they answered him deceitfully. But it was the Lord who set them up and gave them the power and the might to be able to do it, to right the wrong. But they did it like you a gang member and you get caught out there by yourself in front of the other gang. Then your boys roll up and now you feel powerful again.
You got that tough.
See that? So now their toughness is the Lord told us to do this. But it was the evil of their own hearts that they did it out of the malice that they did. Everything that we heard them say was right. Everything that they felt was right. This nigga gotta die. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. We see that this was a righteous judgment. But anytime that you take on, because I got right here, we see the same thing in Genesis 27, 11 through 13 with Rebekah when it came to Jacob and Esau. The angel of the Lord came to her and said, you have 2 different people, manner of people in your womb who will be separated at birth, and the elder will serve the younger. Okay? But when it came time that Isaac it said that his eyes were dim and he was about to yield up the ghost, it looked like that to her. My husband finna die and he ain't blessed my son yet, my favorite one, being Jacob. See, we see that this is still come back on Jacob.
Jump the gun.
His mama said, let this, hold on, I'll read that. There was 2 verses.
And y'all, the same thing happened with Sarah when the angel told her, you're going to have a son.
She black.
She doubted. She like, come on now.
She jumped.
You know, I'm old. I can't, you know, this on my chest got me looking like I got 4 arms. How can I have a baby?
Exactly. And that's exactly why she gave Bilhah her handmaid.
No, but y'all, she was like, I'm way past that. So she jumped the gun and she went and got Hagar and gave him that and told him to go into her, and then now we got these problems. You know, then she had to backtrack with this with Ishmael
didn't, you know, what he said there, that when Bilhah was bucking up against, I'm trying to say Abraham's wife. Sarah.
Hagar was bucking up to her.
Yeah, when Hagar was bucking up against her, she came to Abraham and said, you need to do such and such with this woman. If this woman says that, he said, you gave her to me. You gave her me this. So you handle that. And she said, well, she got to go. And what we just read, the first wife, she got the right respect. You say, hey, my wife said you got to go. You got to go. And it says it grieved Abraham because he loved that lad. That was his firstborn son.
And you know, and the main thing was the Lord told Abraham because it grieved him on account of his son. It grieved him on account of his son Ishmael. So the Lord told him, he said, listen to him. Because he, in essence, it would have stopped the plan that Isaac had to get the birthright. So he told him, listen to him, don't send him away, but you know, we got a blessing for the boy. He's going
to take care of him. Go ahead, bro, what you got?
Because we talk about jumping the gun, and we often talk about how Judas jumped the gun, you know, to bring the kingdom.
Right.
So it got me thinking, then Christ got killed some other way that Judas hadn't did that.
What?
I ain't never read this book of Judas is supposed to be out there.
They said it's fake. Yeah.
Okay, but somehow they would have captured Christ anyway had he not jumped the gun.
Well, look at it like this. When they was at the Passover and he said, "When are you going to betray me?" What did they say? Lord, is it I? So it was going to have out of the 12. Judas happened to be that one for his heart, but they all questioned him and said, "Lord, is it I?" So we know that's the way it played out. Only they knew how it was going to actually play out ahead of time. But the fact is, just like this Genesis 27.
And understand this, all of it, you know, it's Satan causing the problem. Because what it does is it prolongs his time. Every time he disobeys, his sentence stretched out.
Right.
Because he said that we had knew that he was the king of the earth when he rolled in and saying Hosanna on the highs, we'd had the kingdom then. You know, but we had to accept him as he was then, and we didn't do that then. So what Satan does, every time we get close, he just calls a problem and stretch it right back out. He's always right after the flood. There he is. He's in the Garden of Eden. As soon as we come out of Egypt, there he is, causing us to sin, and we have to start all over again.
Right.
Every time. So that's what he's a master at. You know, that he continues to stretch his time out. You know, you talk about a call to the governor for somebody on death row. He got that number locked in. So he keep getting his time extended, you know. And that's why Christ had to come and just set it in order, because we kept it. Continue to do it and cause it to lag out as far as it's going, and to send us back into captivity as well.
Good.
Well, the punishment that we on is under now, this would be the last stretch.
Yeah.
According to prophet. They sick and tired of going through.
Let me read this Genesis 27, 11 through 13 real quick. We're going to see this with Rebekah. It said, and Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, behold, Esau, my brother, is a hairy man, but I am a smooth man. My father peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. This is when she thought that Isaac was finna die right then. And Isaac called his sons in. Hey, it's my time. He told Esau, go out to the field, catch me a deer, make me some of that venison that you make good, and I'm going to give you your blessing. Well, Rebekah heard that, and she's like, well, the blessing is supposed to go to Joseph. So she took it upon herself. Check it out. And his mother said unto him, upon me be thy curse, my son. Only obey my voice and go fetch them. She told him, you go get you a goat, and I'm going to cook it up for you and make it taste like venison. And we're going to put this goat hair on your arms. Now think about how hairy Esau was. Put on some skin of a goat, and his daddy felt it. Oh, that's my boy right there. You know what I'm saying? So she took that. She jumped the gun and was impatient, waiting on the Lord. She thought the Lord didn't deliver. So we see if she wouldn't have done it, there would have been a different outcome.
And y'all see, this is the first time that color is mentioned in the Bible of any nation up to this point, when it describes Esau being red and hairy all over like a hair. They don't have any pigment, so when the blood comes up in the flesh, it's red. When they blush or when they get angry, it's blood red. Where we have melanin in our skin, so when the blood comes up, it gives us that mahogany look. So we ruddy. So everywhere you see red in the Bible pertaining to a nation, it'll always say Esau, and everywhere it says ruddy, it's going to be pertaining to Israelites. Right. Meaning the blood that's coming up through the flesh, through the melanin of the flesh. Right. So, and when it describes Esau being hairy and a man of the field, and you always see the hunting shows who are out there, this is why you have the number one product sold by them is hair removal and tanning. And right, guns, right. So and guns, right, because they were a man of war, a man of the field. And that's why we used to say back in the day, oh, you kind of smell like a wet dog. So because he said he was the dew, like the dew in the morning. If it's a dog out in that wet dew, that's what gives them that smell when they come in. That's on their paws. So that's when he put the clothes on to even make them, because Isaac is blind at this point. He can't see nothing, so he's feeling it, pulling a Ray Charles at this point. And he like, yeah.
And that shows you how she knew that she had even put something on the back of his neck, because you see, he fell up on his neck, he grabbed him by his neck and pulled him in closer to smell him. Right. But he had his neck already hairy. Who got a hairy neck? All right, we ain't got much longer. We're going to keep going because we got like maybe one or two, maybe more chapters, but we're going to get right through this, y'all. It's going to answer everything that we talk about. Everything that we see thus far, here come the end.
And let me just say this, like Mal says, because a lot of books you'll see, just like we saw here where it says the Lord had already planned this. The Lord always got a plan B when prophecy don't come to pass, because Satan's already there to do it. So he's always got a plan B. And it's just like when we were in eternity at the beginning, and the sun and the moon weren't created to the fourth day, because we were made to be immortal. So a day to us was supposed to be 1,000 years. So we would have never had to worry about the sun. Like you get Adam and Eve, the first time they got kicked out of the garden, that was the first time they ever felt the heat of the sun. Right. And even when the kingdom come back, it says there's no need for the sun or the moon in paradise again, because it will be 1,000-year millennial reign. So we get to see exactly what it should have looked like before Plan B had to be implemented. Right. So the Lord is always one step ahead. Always one step ahead. He ain't gonna never be caught short by Satan. Never.
Y'all surprised me. And then think about what he said there, that the Plan B of the Most High. So think about the sun and the moon as that Plan B.
Right.
There was no need for it at all.
That's like the Lord knew you was doing that.
Right. Yep. See, because when he planted the vineyard and all the trees was there was no, the sun and moon, that wasn't the same one that was taking care of the garden. It was the light of the world, the light of Christ, and righteousness was growing there. Because, like I say, this sun, everything we got now is contaminated. I don't care if you get it from the old food store, it's still stained up. Okay, nothing we can do about the atmosphere.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Why does it say at the beginning of Genesis that God created the day and and night?
You see in verse 14 that the sun wasn't created until the fourth day. So there's days. You got 3 days before there was ever a sun and a moon, and those days were 1,000 years each. So 3,000 years after creation, before the sun was created on the fourth day, you got 3 whole days. There ain't no sun and moon.
Remember he told Adam, when you see him, you're going to die this day. Adam lived 930 years.
He's going to read day to the Lord is 1,000 years.
Oh, so it's not like I'm counting.
Not like 7 day weeks.
When you have to understand, look, when we in the day of the Lord, and like Christ always say, in the day of the Lord, we're going back into what's called without clock time. There was no 24-hour clock in eternity. Just like when we go in eternity, ain't no clock. You ain't gonna never have to do that if you make it. Right. There ain't nowhere you have to be at a certain time because it's eternity. Basically, they say time is moving so fast you get to the speed of light. Time actually slows down. You know, and you live in this long life that Adam never lived a day. See, and that's what people are trying to say. Well, see, the Bible is contradicting itself. Adam didn't die that day. No, he didn't die in a 24-hour day. But he died before 1,000 years. Psalms 94 and...
Even the read, let's read it. Okay. 2 Peter 3 and 8.
Yeah, Psalms 90 and 10.
Write the scripture down, sister, right here. 2 Peter 3 and 8 and Psalms 90 and 4 about the day of the Lord. Right. Go ahead, put it. 2 Peter 3 and 8, Psalms 90 and 4. 2 Peter 3, verse 8, book of Psalms, chapter 90, verse 4. Two witnesses showing you that the day of the Lord is 1,000 years. Well, again, like Brother Daddy was saying, some moves will say, see, the Bible contradicts you. You don't get past Genesis 1 or 2 without contradiction. That's a lie. Right. He told Adam, you're going to die this day. Adam, no man is living to see 1,000 years. Right. No man on the planet. The oldest man was Methuselah, was 969 years. Yep. He still fell short. What is that? 1 year. 31 years. But read that real quick, bro.
2 Peter 3 and 8. Behold, but, beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day with the Lord is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. And then 90 and 4. Psalms 90 and 4. For 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday when it is past, and as a watch in the night.
Right. Right. All right. Let's get back here so we can get through. We're gonna.
Yeah, we got a few more minutes.
Moving on to read. We can speed this up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, we still in yeah. Jasher 34.
It's down here past one of y'all. Book of Jasher, chapter 34,
yeah.
verse 1.
Yep.
All right, the book of Jasher, chapter 34, verse 1.
No, boy, that's look. We got some.
Don't even worry about it.
It's a bookmark. It's a bookmark.
Don't worry about it. I got you, bro. Psalm 30. Book of Jasher 34, verse 1. And the number of all the males that were circumcised was 645 million, and 246 children. Ooh. Wow. Do some math on that. 645, 246. How much? About 900. Round, give or take. Verse 2. But Kedicum, son of Pered, the father of Hamor, and his 6 brothers would not listen unto Shechem and his father Hamor, and they would not be circumcised. For the proposal of the sons of Jacob was loathsome in their sight, and their anger was greatly roused at this, that the people of the city had not hearkened to them.
So that's right there real quick, is that where he said, these are the people that did not agree with this agreement, that you went out there and made an agreement and didn't consult us first.
And these are his elders, his
right.
grandfathers.
Right. So now he's like, you gonna see that it goes even further with them about this. Like I said, you done went out here and done something that you done brought on all of us. We see the amount of people that were circumcised, but they didn't agree to this.
That's like 900 folks, man.
Wait.
And in the evening of the second day, they found 8 small children who had not been circumcised, for their mothers had concealed them from Shechem and his father Hamor, and from the men of the city. And Shechem and his father Hamor said,
on the same thing. It's like Deuteronomy 28, Leviticus 26 they put out there. If it's the Chinese, then it's the Chinese. But it's surely not Esau that's in the land today claiming to be the so-called Jews, because he's not claiming any of the prophecies.
At all.
At all.
All right, this is the book of Joshua, chapter 34, verse 9. And if the inhabitants of the land and all your brethren, the children of Ham, shall hear of your act, saying, on account of a Hebrew woman did Shechem and Hamor his father, and all the inhabitants of their city, do that which they had been unacquainted and which their ancestors never commanded them. Where then will you fly, or where conceal your shame? All your days before your brethren, the inhabitants of the land of Canaan. Now therefore, we cannot bear up against this thing which you have done, neither can we be burdened with this yoke upon us, which our ancestors did not command us. Behold, tomorrow we will go and assemble all our brethren, the Canaanitish brethren, who dwell in the land, and we will all come and smite you, and all those who trust in you, that there shall not be a remnant left from you or them.
See there? That's their own people talking to them.
Also, y'all, if you look up Semitic, or which is Shem, they call it Semitic, look up the definition. Check it out, that's what it says. It says, relating to or denoting a family of languages that includes Hebrew, Aramaic, or, Aramaic, certainly ancient languages of the Phoenician, Akkadian, consistent with the main subgroups of Afro-Asiatic families. And the second definition relating to the people who speak Semitic languages, especially Hebrew and Arabic, which, Ishmael was the father of the Arab nation, and Israel is the father of the Hebrews. Just to give you that understanding. So they know the definition, don't even hide even in they do.
And that Shem he just read about, that was one of Ham's other brothers. It was the three sons, Japheth, Shem, and Ham.
Sons of Noah. Verse 13. And when Hamor and his son Shechem and all the people of the city heard the words of Gedechem and his brother, they were terribly afraid of their lives at their words, and they repented of what they had done. And Shechem and his father Hamor answered their father Gedechem and his brethren, and they said unto them, all the words which you spoke unto us are true. Now do not say nor imagine in your hearts that on account of the love of the Hebrews we did this thing that our ancestors did not command us.
Okay, I missed one. I'm going to give it right back to you. That it said in verse 13, it says, and they repented what they've done. So the covenant now they made with Jacob and his 12 sons,
they turned their back on them.
Now they say we done tripped. Okay, so now you right. This is the custom of our people. Right. This is how we roll. Right. And what we did was wrong. So now, and they told them, if y'all don't do this, we're going to kill all y'all.
Right.
So now they, like I said, your children have done something, ran out there and done one act. One act by one man has caused all this. And they went out there and made this covenant with a people they told that you don't even know. You ain't got no dealings with these people. And they just rolled up here. How long they been here? A year and a half? Right. We gonna make this back right the way we go. We gonna set this back up the way Ham does things.
And this is their grandfather children.
Yeah. Right. We gonna keep the son, the grandson, anymore.
Right there. Read on.
16. But because we saw that it was not their intention and desire to accede to our wishes concerning their daughter as to our taking her, except on this condition. So we hearkened to their voices and did this act which you saw, in order to obtain our desire from them. And when we shall have obtained our request from them, we will then return to them and do unto them that which you say unto us.
Yeah.
See, they was deceiving.
Right. See, so like I said,
they were going to try to kill you.
You got Simeon and Levi being deceitful and setting them up to things the way they was going to do them. And then when they realized what they did, we got to do back the way we do things. So now you got two people deceiving each other. That's right. So come on.
And in this, the birthright gets passed too, because of deception. Verse 18. We beseech you then to wait and tarry until our flesh shall be healed, and we again become strong. And we will then go together against them and do unto them that which is in your hearts and in ours.
In their own hearts.
See, they were going to try to get their son.
So they thinking about just a little piece of flesh that we got circumcised with does not mean that this is the covenant that we have to go by.
Right.
This is just a little piece of flesh, okay? So now once we heal up, we all going back and we going to war against them. Okay? So if you think about Jacob and his 12 sons and their families, this is their family. These are all the people that are involved. Just him and his family. So they like, we just read how many of them got circumcised. So all the men, that number, could go against just him and his family. Check it out.
Verse 19. And Dina, the daughter of Jacob, heard all these words which Shechem and his brothers had spoken, and what Hamor and his son Shechem and the people of their city had answered them. And she hastened and sent one of her maidens that her father had sent to take care of her in the house of Shechem to Jacob her father and to her brethren, saying, Thus did Shechem and his brothers advise concerning you, and thus did Hamor and Shechem and the people of the city answer them.
And when so she heard their plan, so she sent her handmaids back to warn her father and her brothers. They plotting against you now. Go ahead.
You say, hey, war, you feel me? Verse 22. And when Jacob heard these words, he was filled with wrath, and he was indignant at them, and his anger was kindled against them.
Now Jacob mad.
And Simeon and Levi swore and said, As the Most High liveth, the God of the whole earth, by this time tomorrow, there shall not be a remnant left in the whole city.
We talking about two of them, y'all. Remember, two people.
Verse 24. And 20 young men had concealed themselves who were not circumcised. And these young men fought against Simeon and Levi, and Simeon and Levi killed 18 of them. And 2 fled from them and escaped to some lions' pits that were in the city. And Simeon and Levi sought for them, but could not find them. And Simeon and Levi continued to go about in the city, and they killed all the people of the city at the edge of the sword, and they left none remaining.
None remaining.
And there was a great consternation in the midst of the city, and the cry of the people of the city ascended to heaven. And all the women and children cried aloud. And Simeon and Levi slew all the city. They left not a male remaining in the whole city. And they slew Hamor and Shechem his son at the edge of the sword. And they brought away Dina from the house of Shechem. And they went from there. And the sons of Jacob went and returned, and came upon the slain, and spoiled all their property, which was in the city and the field. And whilst they were taking the spoil, 300 men stood up and threw dust at them, and struck them with stones. When Simeon turned to them, and he slew them all with the edge of the sword. And Simeon turned before Levi, and came into the city.
So in addition to that, he killed 300 by himself. Okay? It's still getting better. Let's go.
They named all the superheroes after your forefathers.
That's right.
Yeah. Men had supernatural spiritual powers.
That's right.
Verse 31. And they took away their sheep and their oxen and their cattle, and also the remainder of the women and little ones. And they led all these away, and they opened the gate and went out and came unto their father Jacob with vigor. And when Jacob saw all that they had done to the city, and saw the spoil that they took from them, Jacob was very angry at them. And Jacob said unto them, What is this that you have done to me? Behold, I obtained rest among the Canaanite inhabitants of the land, and none of them meddled with me.
Who say that, y'all?
Meddling.
Who say that? Ain't nobody meddling with me. Who say that more than anybody? But the fact is, you see that in their deceit, that their father didn't even know. And when he said, What hast thou done to me?
Y'all messing up my rest.
Look what y'all have done to me. All right, let's keep reading.
Verse 33. And now you have done to make me obnoxious to the inhabitants of the land, amongst the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I am but of a small number. And they will assemble against me and slay me when they hear of your work with their brethren, and I and my household will be destroyed. And Simeon and Levi and all their brothers with them answered their father Jacob, and said unto him, Behold, we live in the land, and shall Shechem do this to our sister?
See that?
Why art thou silent at all that Shechem has done? And shall he deal with our sister as with a harlot in the streets?
Now you remember, y'all, when they said, when Simeon and Levi said, let us go and consult with our father Isaac, because he knows the ways of Abraham. They did not consult with their father Jacob, and they're not understanding. Why are you mad? Why are you mad for what we did? They're not understanding the big picture.
So they come there and consult to them.
That's right. Here comes the big picture.
Verse 35. And the number of women whom Simeon and Levi took captives from the city of Shechem, whom they did not slay, was 85, who had not known man. 85 verses. 36.
Look at y'all brothers back there.
Right. Y'all sounded like Samson now.
This next verse, you're going to see hypocrisy.
36. And amongst them was a young damsel of a beautiful appearance, well favored, whose name was Benua. And Simeon took her for a wife. And the number of the males which they took captives and did not slay were 47 men, and the rest they slew.
So now they told Shechem and Hamor, hey, we ain't supposed to be with y'all. And then what did he do?
It's actual war though. That's an actual Torah.
That's right, actual war. But they was all mad about it. And then out of this whole deal, you still took your wife from one there.
Read that Deuteronomy 21 and 10. Read that real quick. Deuteronomy 21, 10 and 11.
Yeah.
That's scripture right there.
Yeah. Deuteronomy 21, verse 10. And when thou goest forth to war against thy enemies, and the Lord, the Most High Power, has delivered them into thine hands, and thou hast taken them captive.
Like Simeon and Levi did.
Right.
And seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife. Then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. And after that thou shalt go in unto her, and be her husband, and shall be thy wife, and she shall be thy wife.
And see, you know, and that's how the Most High worked with that. He didn't just say you can just have her right away. He said, look, give her time to mourn for her parents, you know, but she has to cut her fingernails off and cut all her hair off and let it regrow back, because that's the new glory, you know, and come back up under the covenant vow. He said, then you can take her to wife. So there was even a waiting period of a whole month, you know, not like Shechem just jumped right on down.
And understand that was okay in doing actual warfare.
Right.
In which that was right there. All right, verse 37.
Deuteronomy 21, 10 through 14.
That was Deuteronomy 21.
Brother, you read that in Deuteronomy, which is after the Genesis. So that means law
and earth. They understood these things.
And what Deuteronomy means is copy of the law.
Yeah, words.
So what you also see too, like you understand what they were screaming is that they committed adultery and fornication. Again, Torah had not been presented in Moses. You see what I'm saying? So they understood at that time, and we always keep telling everybody that the law been there.
That's why I say Abraham knows the way.
From the time of Noah, from the time of Noah, the whole world knows.
All right, verse 37. Book of Joshua, chapter 36, right?
37, go ahead.
Yeah, verse 37. And all the young men and women that Simeon and Levi had taken captives from the city of Shechem were servants to the sons of Jacob, and to their children after them, until the day of the sons of Jacob going forth from the land of Egypt. And when Simeon and Levi had gone forth from the city, the two young men that were left, who had concealed themselves in the city and did not die amongst the people of the city, rose up. And these young men went into the city and walked about in it, and found the city desolate, without a man, and only women weeping. And these young men cried out and said, Behold, this is the evil which the sons of Jacob, the Hebrew, did to this city in their having this day destroyed one of the Canaanite cities, and were not afraid of their lives of all the land of Canaan.
They said, not afraid.
And these men left the city and went to the city of Tapnach. And they came there and told the inhabitants of Tapnach and all that had befallen them, and all that the sons of Jacob had done to the city of Shechem. And the information reached Jeshub, king of Tapnach, and he sent men to the city of Shechem to see those young men. For the king did not believe them in this account, saying, how could two men lay waste such a large town as Shechem? And the messengers of Jeshub came back and told him, saying, we came into the city, and it is destroyed. There is not a man there, only weeping women. Neither is any flock or cattle there. For all that was in the city, the sons of Jacob took away. And Jeshub wondered at this, saying, how could two men do this thing to destroy so large a city, and not one man able to stand against them? That's Deuteronomy 32. One of us to chase 1,000. That's Deuteronomy 32, verse 29 on down. You see, one of us to chase 1,000, two of us to chase 10,000. That was the power the Lord had on us. Verse 43. For the light has not been from the days of Nimrod, and not even from the remotest time has the light taken place. And Jeshub, the king of Tapnach, said to his people, be courageous, and we will go and fight against these Hebrews, and do unto them as they did unto the city, and we will avenge the cause of the people of the city. And Jeshub, king of Tapnach, consulted with his counselors about this matter. And his advisors said unto him, alone thou wilt not prevail over the Hebrews. Alone you will not prevail over the Hebrews. For they must be powerful to do this work to the whole city. If two of them laid waste the whole city, and no one stood against them, surely if thou wilt go against them, they will all rise against us and destroy us likewise. But if thou wilt send to all the kings that surround us, and let them come together, then we will go with them and fight against the sons of Jacob. Then will thou prevail against them. And Jeshub heard the words of his counselors, and their words pleased him and his people, and he did so. And Jeshub, king of Tapnach, sent to all the kings of the Amorites that surrounded Shechem and Tapnach, saying, go up with me and assist me, and we will smite Jacob the Hebrew and all his sons, and destroy them from the earth. For thus did he do to the city of Shechem, and do you not know of it? And all the kings of the Amorites heard the evil that the sons of Jacob had done to the city of Shechem, and they were greatly astonished at them. And the 7 kings of the Amorites assembled with all their armies, about 10,000 men with drawn swords, and they came to fight against the sons of Jacob. And Jacob heard that the kings of the Amorites had assembled to fight against his sons. And Jacob was greatly afraid, and it distressed him. And Jacob exclaimed against Simeon and Levi, saying, what is this act that you did? Why have you injured me to bring against me all the children of Canaan to destroy me and my household? For I was at rest, even I and my household. And you have done this thing to me, and provoked the inhabitants of the land against me by your proceedings. And Jehoiada, Judah, answered his father, saying, was it for naught my brothers Simeon and Levi killed all the inhabitants of Shechem? Surely it was because Shechem had humbled our sister, and transgressed the command of our God to Noah and his children. For Shechem took our sister away by force and committed adultery with her.
So you see, he's still questioning. They still don't understand why their father's so scared of what's going on. All they know is what they did was right by avenging. And they just still, like, this their daddy, like, come on, man. You know, they still are questioning this and wondering why he is not on board, or that he is not okay with this. Because they still don't know that this is going on right here, right now.
You know, and the reason they keep saying they committed adultery, Dina wasn't married to nobody. but she was under her father's house. So
that was her cover.
That was her cover.
He never asked her. He never asked her.
So, what you got, bro?
Is that like part of the curses of Deuteronomy 28 where it says children will be your oppressors?
Children will be your oppressors?
No,
that's I mean, in a sense, we doing those, our children are doing those things because our children do like he was saying, go out and do crazy stuff, and then that oppresses us. You done did what, boy? You know, why can't believe you done that? You know,
a little Willie shooting up your house.
Right. So I don't know if any of y'all watched that new series they got out, how the young boy peed in the restaurant.
Empire.
And then said that's that type of shame.
He cursed
that's
us
brought forth that oppress your parents. You know, or that a father have to come and see his son in a penitentiary. You know, that's that type of oppression that brings great hurt upon a father.
And that's that same power, though. Speaking of which, you had the son, you know, knew he had that money, that power, and he was feeding him that he was a prince. You know what I'm saying? So with that power, he abused.
He's drunk with power. Right.
Drunk with power.
Right. We almost done, y'all. Just
almost done, y'all.
Y'all see the story, see how it's going, and how it's going to unfold.
Alright, verse 53. And Shechem did all this evil, and not one of the inhabitants of his city interfered with him to say, why would thou do this? Surely for this my brothers went and smote the city, and the Lord delivered it into their hands, because its inhabitants had transgressed the commands of our God.
That's right.
Is it then for naught that they have done all this? And now, it's Judah talking to his father, and now, why art thou afraid or distressed? And why art thou displeased at my brothers? And why is thine anger kindled against them? Surely our God, who delivered into their hand the city of Shechem and its people, he will also deliver into our hands all the Canaanitish kings who are coming against us. And we will do unto them as my brothers did unto Shechem. So Judah tells his old dude, don't be scared, man. Scared.
We got you. Judah, now see, it's the son. It's the son standing up telling his father, man, we got this. Don't be scared. We got this. You ain't got to do nothing. We got this. You seen what they did, and you know the Lord set them up to do that. So why you scared? Keep going.
And he's showing you that these great men in the Bible weren't robots. Right. You feel me? At times, you know, flesh overcame brothers. That spirit of fear crept in. Oh, I mean, people got to kill, man. Showing you they wasn't robots, man. They were real people, dealt with real life situations, you know what I'm saying? And had to deal with the situation right in front of them. Is everything peaches and cream? No. The Bible don't hide even the ugly parts. It lets you know flat out, look, this is what happened. This event led to this event that led to this event to why Judah got the scepter. That's right. That's the name of his class. Right. You know what I'm saying? Had not Simeon and Levi did what they did, Judah would have never got the scepter, and through Judah comes Christ. Right. You feel me? So, because the events had to play out to where the firstborn Reuben loses his, the second and thirdborn lose it, and it lands on Judah. Because you got to go through all this so it can land on Judah. People like, I don't know, the Bible kind of gory and bloody. But you know, Lot's daughters had sex with his father. But that's how you know the Bible real. Because it don't even have its bad parts. Right. It's going to tell you straight out, look, this is what happened, and this is why, you know, the condition of what it is.
Why they did right.
Yeah, unlike your Egyptian history. Everything just was peaches and cream. Right. It was no type of war, no bloodshed, no slavery, nothing. It just was all good.
Yeah. Just a whole bunch of homosexuality.
Yeah, a whole bunch of homosexuality.
And if they was over the war, they strike all they records.
Exactly. All right, we in verse 15.
We got about a few minutes, y'all.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up.
We almost done. What verse I mean, bro? 57? 56. Now be tranquil about them and cast away thy fears, but trust in Yahweh our God, and pray unto him to assist us and deliver our enemies into our hands. Right. And Judah called to one of his father's servants, go now and see where those kings who are coming against us are situated with their armies. They'll get ready. Go get some king talk. Go get some intel.
Yeah, that's a king talk. Anybody talk. Anybody talk.
Get some logistics on. And the servant went and looked far off, and went up opposite Mount Sion, and saw all the camps of the kings standing in the fields. And he returned to Judah and said, Behold, the kings are situated in the field with all their camps, a people exceedingly numerous, like unto the sand upon the seashore. Not a people. And Judah said unto Simeon and Levi, and to all his brothers, strengthen yourselves and be sons of valor. For the Most High our God is with us. Do not fear them. Stand forth each man, girt with his weapons of war, his bow and his sword. And we will go and fight against these uncircumcised men. The Most High Yah, the Lord, is our God. He will save us. And they rose up, and each girt on his weapons of war, great and small, 11 sons of Jacob, and all the servants of Jacob with them, and all the servants of Isaac who were with Isaac in Hebron, all came to them equipped in all sorts of war instruments. And the sons of Jacob and their servants, being 112 men, went toward these kings, and Jacob also went with them. Trip off that 112 of them, but 10,000 of them.
Right. So it's 112, 11 sons, and then Jacob.
Showing you our forefathers were warriors too. Because the same thing happened with Abraham. When they came and kidnapped Lot, he armed up everybody in his house. 300 men. Let's go to war. Let's go get them. So your forefathers who God made a covenant were actually warriors. They weren't this Joel Osteen today. Your forefathers were warriors, and their name rings bells to this very day. Everybody's still talking about this Bible, man. Who God got a covenant with? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's just the truth. You come from a long line of warriors.
Like the Lord.
Yeah.
He's a man of war.
He's a man of war.
Right.
Let this comfort y'all. This verse 60. You shouldn't be in here getting offended with this. Right. This should comfort you. Like, oh, our God has always been.
That's right. That's right. Was he not called the Lord of hosts?
Right.
The Lord of hosts.
All right, trip off this. Verse 63. And you see Granddaddy Isaac there too. Right. Isaac at the battle with his servants. Granddaddy. Yeah, let's get him. Let's get little sport.
Where is that? Boy, pointed some scouts.
Verse 63. Verse 63. And the sons of Jacob sent unto their father Isaac, the son of Abraham, to Hebron. The same is Kiriath Arba, saying, Pray, we beseech thee, for us unto the Lord our God, to protect us from the hands of the Canaanites, who are coming against us, and to deliver them into our hands. And Isaac, the son of Abraham, prayed unto the Lord for his sons. And he said, O Lord God, thou didst promise my father, saying, I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven. And thou didst also promise me, and establish thou thy word. Now that the kings of Canaan are coming together to make war with my children, because they committed no violence. Now therefore, O Lord God, God of the whole earth, pervert, I pray thee, the counsel of these kings, that they may not fight against my sons.
So what he prayed was he asked the Lord, the kings relied on their counselors. So Jacob is praying that the Lord would advise the hearts of the counselors.
Isaac, right.
See what I'm saying? So to advise the kings on what to do. Check this out.
So he prayed that the Lord confound them. All right, verse 67. And impress the hearts of these kings and their people with the terror of my sons, and bring down their pride, and that they may turn away from my sons. And with thy strong hand and outstretched arm, deliver my sons and their servants from them. For power and might are in thy hands to do all this. And the sons of Jacob and their servants went toward these kings, and they trusted in the Lord their God. And whilst they were going, Jacob their father also prayed unto the Lord, and said, O Yah, God, powerful and exalted God, who has reigned from days of old, from thence till now and forever. Thou art he who stirred up wars. Thou art he who stirred up wars, and causes them to cease. In thy hand are power and might, to exalt and to bring down. Oh, may my prayer be acceptable before thee, that thou mayest turn to me with thy mercies, to impress the hearts of these kings, and their people with the terror of my sons, and terrify them, and their camps, and with thy great kindness deliver all those that trust in thee. For it is thou who can bring people unto us and reduce nations under our power. Hallelujah.
And another time this happened, y'all, get in 1 Kings 22, verse 20 on down, and you see again where this same type of situation was happening with Ahab, and the Lord sent a lying spirit to his prophets. Because, see, y'all, these are the remaining spirits from those giants before the flood. So they just don't go off. The Most High used everything to his benefit. So since these evil spirits, these are the evil spirits he sent to Saul as well. When Saul lost his mind and started going to soothsayers and different things. So the Lord used those evil spirits for his work. You know, don't nothing, so to speak, go to waste.
Lord control it all. Read 6 more verses, y'all. We done. Next chapter, these 6 verses ends it all. That we see what happened.
All right, the book of Joshua, chapter 35, 1 through 6. Verse 1. And all the kings of the Amorites came and took their stand in the field to consult with their counselors what was to be done with the sons of Jacob. They were still afraid of them, saying, Behold, 2 of them slew the whole of the city of Shechem. And the Lord heard the prayers of Isaac and Jacob. And he filled the hearts of all these kings' advisors with great fear and terror, that they unanimously exclaimed, Are you silly this day? Are you silly this day? Or is there no understanding in you that you will fight with the Hebrews? And why will you take a delight in your own destruction this day? Behold, 2 of them came to the city of Shechem without fear or terror, and they killed all the inhabitants of the city, that no man stood up against them. And how will you be able to fight with them all?
See that? How can you fight with them all? This is, you see how they say the Lord answered Isaac and Jacob's prayer, that's what he prayed for? Yeah. And you see how the advisors, not only did they say, no, you shouldn't go up against them. They call them silly. And why would you want to be at your own destruction this day? That's how they advise like you out your mind. Right. You seen what 2 of them do, what you think you're going to do against all 12 of them?
And y'all, this fear is amongst all nations to this day, y'all. Even the police see that fear, because look, y'all, they already got these records. They discovered these long time ago when we was trying to figure out how to read. So they already knew. That's why, even though Darren Wilson had a taser, had a 9mm, had mace, had everything else, he said it felt like Hulk Hogan on him, and all of them say, black men scare us. We fear them for no reason. Like, how you fear them and you got all the weapons? You are scared. And that's that fear to go around every nation. As soon as they look at you, especially if you strapped, bull nostrils and broad about the shoulders, they scared to death and they automatically up.
That's why they invented them guns.
Right. You see the same fear, like, for example, you at the grocery store, you walking around one aisle, and here come a Gentile around the opposite direction, coming right at you. And the first thing they say, oh, I'm sorry. Right. You ain't do nothing. You didn't bump into me, you just hit my car, you didn't do nothing. All we doing is just happen to come to the same place at the same time, and you automatically, oh, I'm sorry.
Or smile.
For what?
You know, they smile, you know. See, they smile and look at me. Because we scowl and look up.
Let's finish this up, y'all.
I'm going to read down to 10. All right, verse 5. Surely you know that their God is exceedingly fond of them and has done mighty things for them, such as have not been done from the days of old. And amongst all the gods of nations, there is none can do like unto his mighty deeds. Surely he delivered their father Abraham, the Hebrew, from the hand of Nimrod, and from the hand of all his people who had many times sought to slay him. He delivered him also from the fire in which King Nimrod had cast him, and his God delivered him from it.
Let me say this real quick. See, this is an example of the other nations of the world looking at us, knowing God loves us and deal with us, and know that when we trip and we get in trouble and we repent, God forgives us and makes everything right. Just like the same Pontius Pilate said to Christ, he broke down our whole history. Y'all did here, y'all got in trouble. Y'all turn your back on the Lord, here you got in trouble. You turn your back on the Lord, here you got in trouble. Every time y'all turn y'all back on y'all God and you get in trouble, then you just turn back to him and pray and ask him to forgive you, and he forgives you, and then everything's good till you next get in trouble again. This is what Pontius Pilate said to Christ. He broke down. All the rest of the world can look and say, that's them. Right. And that's their God, and he deal with them directly. So this wasn't new to them. And you be seeing it right here. He's telling them all. How's he know our history? But he's breaking it down just like it happened. Read on, bro. I'm sorry.
That's why they really don't want us coming back. There's so much push against the truth.
Exactly.
You find out who you are.
Excellent point.
Once we align back with the creator of heaven and earth, checkmate.
Checkmate.
They know that.
And that's what the difference is of that today. Back then, we knew who we were. But now, you know how hard it is to tell somebody else that.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing you got to do is get that stumbling block down.
Right.
You know? Read on.
Verse 8. Verse 8. And who else can do the like? Surely it was Abraham who slew the 5 kings of Elam. Who slew the 5 kings of Elam when they had touched his brother's son, who in those days dwelt in Sodom.
5 kings.
And took his servant that was faithful in his house, and a few of his men. And they pursued the kings of Elam in one night, and killed them, and restored to his brother's son all his property, which they had taken from him.
Can you imagine that? Can you just imagine that?
That was Melchizedek order too.
Cats went out there. Cats went out there. Right. Took care of business.
Melchizedek blessed Abraham right
And came right back up out of there and got him and all his goods that they took. Now, who gonna stand before them? Nobody did. Nobody did. Read on.
Verse 10. And surely you know the God of these Hebrews is much delighted with them, and they are also delighted with him, for they know that he delivered them from all their enemies.
Another way, like when you read in the 12 testaments of patriarchs and in the testament of Levi as well, what he talks about is that same adultery they keep hollering about Dina. He said actually that was payback for what Pharaoh had did when he took Sarah from Abraham. He still had to be paid back for that.
Yeah.
So he was saying, look, that killing that Shechem was supposed to do righteously would have fixed that. But by them making that bad deal, he had to take plan B, which caused us some extra problems.
Right.
But y'all, good session, y'all.
Man,
Excellent session,
boy.
Got a lot of history.